Futures a little bit softer here this morning. Downside for the Nasdaq and the S&P to get going ahead of more jobs data coming up this morning at 8:30. We'll talk a little bit about initial jobless claims in a moment here. But the narrative once again shifting from late in the afternoon yesterday to after the close. What a difference a couple of hours makes, with defense stocks initially downside into the afternoon session. And then we get all of that back and more. We'll talk about that coming up in a few moments here. Nvidia back on the table here this morning as well. More China-related headlines, very strong out of the gate yesterday for and not only Nvidia, but the AI trade in general. Worth mentioning, we're back higher here versus, again, a red market to start things off. That's how the calendar's setting up right now. Again, 8:30. The time to focus on this morning, import-export data coming up for October. Initial jobless claims going to be closely watched by the overall market. Continuing claims as well, the week-over-week number. And then if you scroll down here, 10:30, I guess it is, we'll get natural gas. But the big one on the employment front going to be tomorrow morning, or Friday, I should say. Friday morning, 8:30, we'll get non-farm payrolls, going to be the biggest headline of the week, I imagine, as far, unless Trump says something else today. As far as the market is concerned. But what a morning.
Yeah, good morning here, Brendan. It's been quite the day yesterday. I was very active, from the housing stocks to the defense stocks. Trump was posting, I was going to say talking, but technically speaking, he was posting on Truth. And I think Raytheon, I have the Raytheon chart up here because I think this was the one that was maybe the most interesting mover of those defense plays. You get that drop right after the bell. And it's interesting the timing of this, because I think it came out at like 4:03 or 4:04 or something. Right after the bell, Trump basically comes out here and says, yeah, RTX has not been cooperating with the Department of Defense. And so with that in mind, we're basically, maybe going to have to change some deals up, withhold some contracts. So bad look here. Then immediately afterwards, again, announcing that he wants to expand this defense budget for 2027 to $1.5 trillion. So yeah, interesting, I guess, dump and pump there for these defense stocks. But again, RTX being named directly does make it a little bit more interesting here, calling out the housing names as well. We also had APLD with its earnings, and CES 2026 is still happening. So it's a big day, guys.
Yeah, APLD, an interesting one. I want to get to that coming up here this morning, but it's just a matter of moments. We get, the complete reversal on all of these, including this one. Palantir was an absolute rocket ship all morning long. We get all the way up to 187, 187.5 at the high. We got the LMT-related headline into the afternoon, and then this one even pops right back to almost the highs where it was late in the day yesterday. Nowhere near as significant as RTX and LMT, as you were mentioning, but still pretty impressive right across the board for Palantir. Obviously, a lot of government-related revenue coming through for Palantir. So defense taking over as the main headline here possibly today, guys. Good morning.
Good morning. Better morning for those defense stocks here. It's like, I picture a bunch of CEOs that just got on the phone and were like, bro, what did you just do? It's like, okay, fine, watch this. And then now they're all up a bunch. So like things like that probably happened. I just didn't really think it would be. I thought we'd get a chance at a dip buy. Like, this is the second time this has happened. It was Eli Lilly when that Novo thing. I'm like, okay, fine, Novo pill. You get a few days out of that bouncing, and then you'll get a great long. I thought the same thing was going to happen to some of these defense names, where you could just get a little overreaction for a couple of days and then be able to get a bounce. Instead, Raytheon has this ridiculous candle, which is real, all the way down to 175, and now it's 95, like $20, just like that. And Lockheed, kind of the same thing. I mean, these things have been rocket ships, for lack of a better term, but these wicks are all real, like from 500 now, so like 537, so 7% there round trip. But it does put them in play. It puts Palantir in play for me here today. The other side of the coin is now not everyone's talking about the housing note yesterday, which was the bigger at the moment. That was really moving some stocks. BlackRock to the downside will have some open door in mind as well. But yeah, like you can't even get dips that last longer than a few hours at this point with that shock. Seemed like it was going to be a great opportunity, and now it's gone.
I mean, that's just another reason to watch the show. As soon as it happened, I said immediately on the show that his base isn't going to like this. He's going to get some phone calls in, scale that a little bit back. And not only did he scale it back, he went full out. Let's increase things, not. But you know what? I mean, the main idea is still there, right? Let's get production up. on the defense companies and stop the buybacks, and let's just, start making. It takes now, I think one of the quotes that Trump had, by the way, silver down 4%, another ugly day for silver, it looks like. He was mentioning that it takes longer to make one airplane right now than it did to win World War II. So that's part of what's bothering him, obviously, and upside we go there on LMT, and I just think that's the reason why you need to be, tuned in every single day. Here we have to say, and boom, there goes the upside. Even Obi yesterday sent me a message at around 5 o'clock and goes, boom, guy, like you nailed that one all the way back to the upside. And I was like, well, I didn't get long, but still LMT. Yeah, look, I'm loving Palantir's the #1 stock on the list today. This will be the #1 stock for me to trade here. This and Google. Google with a big upgrade. Google looking to take out levels again here today. Palantir goes down on that news, up on that news, and now it looks like it wants to take out 187. And these aren't the good thing about this level for Palantir is it's not even anywhere near the top, really. I mean, we'd like to get to 200. I don't think it gets there today, but that would be maybe another pullback zone. You have one day above $200 there, the earnings, and then straight to the downside. So I really like Palantir here today. I think that continues to work. Gold not suffering the same fate as silver today, which is good for my portfolio, but I do want to buy more dips in all of this space. So the metal names getting to the downside today, and can't go up every day, although it seems like it can. Copper also a little down, but it's silver that's down that 4%. And then Bitcoin bleeding as well, man. Like Bitcoin down to 89.9, not much going on there. We got to 94, and now I was looking at the chart, like we are a little worried here that, you start to break a little lower here through these levels. I mean, this is a 15-minute chart. Let's just go a little bit larger. Let's go to 30. And then you're gonna see you're just right now back into a little bit of support. So this is what we're basically worried about. Like if you lose this 89 area, then I think you kind of have to look a little lower, 87, maybe I'll write this down on the sheet today. Maybe we get to 87 or so for Bitcoin, 87.2, 87.5, like in this area to dip by. It's not like we haven't been here before. I mean, this goes all the way back to basically the first of the month, and 87,000 coming into play. So we went from 87 up to 95, back to 87 again. Kind of makes sense. That's the roller coaster ride that Bitcoin has us on. But yeah, I was just looking at silver. It was just 68.15 there when we came on the air, and then boom to the downside. Remember, you're going to get a lot of these crazy wicks here that happen at 8 o'clock. I was saying that to Neil, like we're not. I don't actually like sitting down here and seeing all these dark pools go off because it just goes crazy right there at 8 o'clock. But yeah, welcome one more time to everybody that's here with us. And we are very, very close, man. 549,000 subscribers. So if you are one of the 1,200 watching right now, you haven't hit the subscribe button, make sure you do it like now so we can get to that 550. Let's see what happens when we get there. Maybe it triggers a blast out from YouTube. Will be nice. We're looking for that. What is it when you get 1 million? You get the gold. Is it gold? I don't know what it is. We have the silver or the platinum, whatever it is, plaque for YouTube.
I thought silver and gold would make the most sense.
Yeah, so we're looking to see, but I think that's 1 million though. So we still got. Can't ask for 450,000 subscribers immediately, but yeah, we're trying to get to 550. Right now. But yeah, defense names all the way up, and no surprise there after that report last night.
There's something on Archer here.
Ooh.
It's up a little bit, but I mean, there was a bit of a volume spike, which is obscured by one of those dark pool sets of prints, but it is up 3% here. Archer to build next wave of aviation AI technology with Nvidia IGX Thor. So that comes through at CES. Maybe not the biggest of news, but this was a name that didn't do very well yesterday. Maybe you can catch a little bit of a bounce. Everyone's watching. Well, I shouldn't say everyone's watching. If you're looking at this stock, you're probably watching the $9 level. 1, 2, 3 times it's been trying to get through. Don't know if it'll be able to do it today, but this one could be on watch for sure. So Archer making plays. Just heard in my ear that Alphabet is introducing new AI features to Gmail, was just a headline. And Alphabet, another top. This one, they're passing, they passed Apple. So worth more than Apple for the first time in 6 years, I believe. I think it's in 2019, the article. But Google, big day yesterday, now adding AI features to Gmail, or new AI features to Gmail. So, The best keeps getting a little bit better as this marches on. Now, keep in mind, though, this is up 1% to the Nasdaq and ES down. So Google's relative strength is definitely showing.
Thank
Randy
you, Randy.
in the house.
How's it going?
See you yesterday, brother. Ooh, nice haircut.
Good. You must have been in yesterday. Oh, you got a haircut. Were you in yesterday? We just didn't see you? No, okay. I was going to say, didn't see the haircut. There. Yeah, okay, thanks, Randy. Yeah, so silver, gold, Google, lots of things moving around. Netflix, another name. Obviously, we're going to be looking a lot at the defense names. Kratos, I mean, there's a whole bunch of names. Kratos that are starting to go up, KTOS, starting to go to the upside there. Netflix, still down again here today. I mean, we'll have to wait to see if it can bounce once again off $90, but yeah, there, you know, a lot of these names. We had Raytheon, RTX. We'll have to look at that today as well. $195, and you already talked about that, 175 up to 195. LMT, Boeing. Boeing's not really doing anything too much this morning, but it has, you know, made back that dip. So up 1.5% there today for Boeing. So another name that, you know, has had such a nice run ever since the CFO came up and increased and mentioned about increasing their capacity to make more planes. So we really like Boeing there. Added to my position at 200 flat. So we like that one. And then Uber was moving around again. I mean, up to $86. We touched $88, which was the 200 period moving average yesterday. So that's starting to go. But yeah, the silver short is fire today. So we can definitely have a look at that at some point today. But yeah, that's what we're doing now. It should be a fun day. I think there's a lot for everybody to trade, whether or not you're, you know, a small cap trader trading some of those names, Joby, Archer, things like that, or you're looking at the big cap names. I mean, you know, obviously we look at those the majority of the day, but lots of names flying around, and then Bitcoin 90,000. Oh, yeah. So key levels everywhere.
So weak yesterday.
Key levels everywhere.
And Randy was just here, but Rivian was a big mover.
Yeah, that's right. $20 yesterday. Yeah.
It was insane. Like, it broke 19, like right off the bat, drops $1, and then gets it right back in the first half an hour, and then breaks it back out. So anytime you have a pivot spot like that, I'm not talking about a pivot point in the technical indicator, but like a pivot in the chart, which is obvious, at like 19.5, you got to look to a level like that today to see if it's going to have as much volatility. But I mean, there were a few stocks that had this kind of, you know, V-shape or just parabolic moves in one way or another. Intel would be an example yesterday. The memory names, which we barely even, you know, like how long have we gotten into? Well, it's only 12 minutes in, so there you go. SNDK, because of course it is making another high. Like, I didn't even know it would be making this high when I just pulled it up. Only 1%, but the last few sessions, this has been absolute and utter nonsense. Micron, maybe not as strong. Western Digital, literal opposite yesterday, that was down significantly. So there is a ton moving. If it's in the chip space, it has been the memory names that have been moving the most. And, you know, certainly a bunch of small caps are going to be in play. I like Open Door. We're going to be looking at Open Door because that was a mover in yesterday's trade as well. Let's head on back to the desk. We have a lot to cover. And, of course, we have jobless claims at 8:30.
Yeah, just watching the market here, trying very desperately to get back to the upside. Just be aware. Fed's Mirren speaking right now, quote unquote, I'm looking for about 1.5 points of cuts in 2026, which is well above what the rest of the planet, it seems, thinks is going to happen. So a little bit of a uptick here for stocks in general on that. Not sure if that was a planned speech or not, but Fed's Mirren speaking right now. Also saying we're still materially above neutral and running unnecessary risk to the labor market. So that's continuing. Just be aware if anyone's watching the overall market. Yeah, we'll bring that data to you when it comes out at 8:30 this morning. Initial jobless claims. We'll get a few other productivity numbers this morning and non-farm productivity numbers, and then import-export data coming out at 8:30 as well. The Nvidia story continues also. I wanted to mention that real quick. Still holding, I guess it's 189.50, 190, a bit of a problem right now, but initially very strong yesterday. Adara, you were all over that China headline. We get more detail on that again this morning in the sense that Nvidia going to require full payment now for H200s, but I'm not sure why that wouldn't be the case right out of the gate for each individual one of these, but I mean, it just points to more uncertainty in general.
Yeah, and then I was reading more details in the report, and apparently this is something they already do. So it's not really news, But then again, the yesterday story was also kind of weird. So I'll talk about this big candle here on the 15-minute chart at 10:30 a.m. yesterday. You can probably see that push to the downside. Basically what happened was the information, which is not known for being the most reputable of news sources as of late when it comes to breaking news, they basically came out and they said that apparently Nvidia, or I guess some of these Chinese companies, meanwhile, are being told by the Chinese government that, hey, don't order these Nvidia H200 chips. So with that in mind, the stock drops, the whole market, a lot of these chip names actually dropping along with it. But then again, we get the story from Reuters coming out today basically saying that Nvidia is going to be requiring full payment for these chips, but apparently they are going to be, I guess, being allowed to process certain orders, so not government entities in China, but other companies. So again, this is very confusing, much like it's always been here with NVDA in China. There is progress and there's like 10 steps back and there's a giant leap forward. So this back and forth does continue.
Uncertainty around China? Never. Doesn't happen. Gap moving around here, very low volume, but gap to the upside. We'll touch on that coming up. That's CVX. I just heard this one in my ear as well, but not really doing much. CVX right back to basically last week's level where we went out on Friday, just sitting here around 155, 156 right now as support. But we'll talk about these energy names coming up as well. First off, though, Joe has some options ideas for you.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday. A lot of activity once again in the options world, but let's take a look at some of the bigger movers here. And we're going to start things off with Intel. That is correct. Guys, a lot of activity, the volume, I mean, across the board, we're starting to see an increase in a lot of its metrics. Now, let's start actually from the bottom because the at-the-money IV sitting around 54.8%. And then as I look at it currently, so this was just done moments before the close, we have an uptick in IV, so you're going to see a slight increase in the bid and ask. So that's going to be implied volatility being priced into these options contracts. Now, let's take a look at this $45 strike price that is going to be expiring next Friday. You can see the open interest relatively high here, guys, 66.1 thousand contracts still currently open at that specific zone. And then sure enough, you opened and closed 57.9 thousand contracts on yesterday's session, and that's going to be at that $45 once again. And then also with the volume stepping in, you're going to see that bid and ask really start to tighten up, guys. We're only sitting on a couple of dollars, and that's relatively good for options land. Now, as for your delta, considering this is an out-the-money contract, it is cool 0.289 there. So for every dollar change in the underlying, you're going to see that contract's value change roughly around $30. And then your gamma exposure, a slight uptick, but don't forget, gamma is always at its greatest when it's at the money, slightly out of the money right now. But as we get closer to that $45 level, if we do, you're going to see that start to increase. Now, as for the actual contract itself, I wanted to bring this up once again. And this is when you buy a contract that was further dated and you're getting closer and closer to the expiration cycle. You would have had to own this for some time, but I found it really interesting. So from the open on yesterday's session, once again, you have triple-digit returns. And in only a span of 2 hours and 10 minutes, you have that contract going from 30 cents all the way up to $1.69, yielding a 438% return. That's some big time moves. But once again, you have to be looking forward when you're purchasing these contracts, and you don't typically see that when you are purchasing it the day of, all right? So you want to step in relatively early. That is INTC, one of the larger movers. Now, as for some more activity here, guys, we have AAL sitting at that $17 strike price, once again expiring next Friday. Open interest sitting around 29,900 with volume around 4,970 at that $17 level. Palantir also putting in a relatively strong session, guys, at that $190 level. That is going to be slightly out of the money. Open interest sitting around 19,200 with volume around 17,000. Rivian, once again, moving relatively well, $22.50 strike price expiring next Friday. Open interest, 23,500. Volume, 1,590, guys.
Yeah, I bet you didn't, most people probably didn't realize how much AAL moved yesterday. That was kind of like a Rivian kind of play, where it just had two massive stages to the upside with a bit of head and shoulders going on. Palantir is the one out of that list that's interesting today because it's big reverse on all that defense talk, But realistically, on the 15, it just has a pretty clean breakout over 187 here, and then it showed you the goods at 180 to 181. So of those names, that's the one that'll be on the watch list. But a good group, for sure. Like lots of volatility in those names, and you wouldn't have suspected AAL would have been that much.
I mean, we're almost in the dollar club already. I mean, we just got filled again. So, look, man, I mean, we wrote down Google long 326. We talked about it when we came on air. It's on the sticky note. The sticky note's out. We're long Google 326. So it dropped in. I mean, I was waiting for a lower as well. But once we came in, I just saw that bid and hit it. So there it goes, man. Google already a good trade. And we actually took a decent amount of shares in the pre-market. So there it is, man. There's your first dollar club winner right there on a easy call. Everybody's talking Google today. So there it goes, man. Breaking that high. We're into Google. I'm out of only 20%. Let's just wait to see what winds up happening. Yeah, thanks everybody. Yeah, hey, look, in this game you got to be quick and you got to be decisive. So was able to do that. And, you know, if it was during I was also sitting for more at 326. This could come back in, no doubt about that. So watch out for some of the liquidity here in the pre-market, but we're already hitting home runs today. So far, so good. But this could easily come back in. So, you know, celebrate some of the wins, but make sure you do take it. Still like all those Palantir calls. Palantir is the #1 stock on the list. You can go find it. Right here on, and again, we have I got to switch this, but I want to put switches to 550,000 subscribers right there. But there it is, Palantir, Google. I like Ford and I like Open Door. So these are the 4 names that I've got on. I'll put that in the chat right now. You guys can go have a quick little look at it. Google, Ford, Palantir, Open Door, all on my mind. But thanks, Joe. I mean, we always are looking for, you know, the options plays, and looks like it makes a lot of sense. And we do have a lot of you traders that are in the chat that do focus on options. So that's obviously a great segment. And we'd like to thank Joe for all of that. We'll put another offer near 327 and see if we can get a little bit more out, but looking to dip by again there on Google if it does come back in. Still Bitcoin hovering around that $90,000 mark. So we should have Luis coming today, and if he does come through, we'll talk about some
Potentially.
small, yep, exactly. We should have some small cap trading talk there when he throws up some of his names. So
I bet he's looking at this one.
I hope so.
If I had to guess, one of the names that's been very popular has been ONDS for months now, and that's up 11% today. Look, I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe he's not interested in ONDS, but it's done over 3 million in volume. I see the dollar signs being put in when people are typing ONDS in the chat. Although I did see someone throw in Google without the dollar sign. So make sure if you're in the chat, dollar sign and whatever ticker it is that you're interested in. Why? Well, it just makes it easier for us. So when I drop down my little visualizer here, I can see what's the most interesting, what the most interesting names are. ONDS, an alphabet there, CONL, Palantir, APLD, and yeah, and someone trolling us as well. So, you know, have fun with it. But again, it just allows us to be able to see what, not just what is moving, but what is interesting, what you guys want to talk about for sure. So there's going to be some small cappers on here, some defense names. Love that AVAV, obviously. And I see Mask Archer, which we just talked about, the news there with Nvidia. That's going to be a positive one. Why is Apple there? Oh, someone misspelled Apple. 2 people misspelled Apple. That's why. Yeah, make sure you get the spelling right. Apple should be near the top, but somebody made a bit of a typo. So yeah, make sure you're jumping in the chat and participating. ONDS, another 11%. This is a very popular stock on social media. You're always seeing a bunch of posts about this thing. You can't be on X without seeing people posting about this stock over and over again. Big breakout.
I got another fill there at 327, 326.97 or so. So what's up, Nimic? Good to see you there. Yeah, I haven't been in many pre-market trades, but this was an easy one. So Google right there taking out some highs on an upgrade. So we're into that one. We just took another piece out right there. So I am now out of 40% of this trade, and we'll wait to see if it comes back into our key level of 326, and we'll get longer there on Google. 824 defense talk today will be first and foremost on a lot of these stocks and why we're looking at them. Obviously, at 8:30 we have jobless claims, so that should be awesome to see when that hits and what that does to the market. You know what? I'm going to cancel my 326 bid right now. Just because of that number coming through. So, you know, I don't need that number to be absolutely horrendous. The next thing you know, I'm now double the long down into there. So, no, I don't think it's a right play right here to have too many pending bids or offers heading into this jobs number. I am still offering 328, so if we do rip up another dollar or so, then we'll get out of all of that. But that's for now, for me, waiting on Google to pop and waiting for these jobless claim numbers to come out at 8:30. I mentioned Ford. I mean, we're going to get to all these stories. This is on the watch list. But looking for level 3 driverless autonomy there. So you're going to see a 14 break here in play. So I've written this one down right now as Ford just has a awesome year here in 2025 and starting to kick out here even more in 2026 with 4 straight up days. Now, this was a $10 name. You're now a $14 name, so give it 40% this year, you know, beating pretty much everything. Only 2 of the Mag 7s beat the S&P 500 last year. So Ford being up huge here over the year. Let's see if it can continue. I actually thought it would be up a little bit more than what it is right now. Maybe we can get some Randy. Well, Randy hates Ford, so it doesn't really matter. He'll give a very biased opinion. So, but anyways, there goes Ford, 0.66% to the upside. I really like what they're talking about, a $30,000 truck potentially coming next year. That makes a lot of sense. We're going to figure out what's going on with Ford later on today, especially if it does break that $14 mark. So, yeah, only 4 minutes to go until we get these numbers. Should be a good one.
Before we go to that, GM also has a pretty decent top it's putting in there. GM was actually, well, I mean, Ford was close, but GM was the #1, and they've both been doing very, very well. You got to remember, those EV credits go away, and everyone sort of focuses back on these cores, and they make generate a lot of cash here, and they're doing pretty well this. I almost said this year. They're doing pretty well last year. This year hasn't moved that much. But it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So let's get to the desk. 3 minutes until we get some data this morning. See if we can turn the market around. We're kind of headed toward green. Nasdaq getting pretty close, about halfway there. We were 1/3% down, now only about half that.
Back to session lows here. I just had an alert go off there for Nike, looking pretty ugly here today. Needham on a downgrade for Nike to hold from buy. This one was ugly yesterday. More negativity here again, 62.50 coming into play. I want to mention Rivian a little bit as Randy walks in the room. 20,000 vehicles being recalled for Rivian. Doesn't sound like it's overly complicated as far as the fix is going to be, something to do with the tail end of vehicles, but not a good look, obviously, as far as quality assurance and you know, for a company that's trying to get a reputation going. Having to recall some cars, never a good thing.
What's interesting too is the stock does not seem to care, because I saw this story, did not make our watch list simply because of the flatlining action here, but we'll talk about this recall because it is certainly worth noting, I think, especially given Rivian's kind of stature and status, as Brendan was just saying there. So just under 20,000 vehicles recalled, 19,641 R1s and R1T vehicles. Basically, there are some concerns here that the toe link joint could potentially separate due to improper service reassembly. So I guess after it's reassembled improperly, there could be some concerns about toe link joints. So kind of convoluted problem, but as Brendan said, probably an easy fix. Rivian stock right now, kind of not. And
for a new-ish company, to be expected to have some bumps in the road as well. But as you said, Rivian guys not really reacting to that. Real quick thoughts on Rivian there. A few people were mentioning it earlier. About 90 seconds, we'll get this jobs data.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at that stock today, I care more about what happened yesterday than any recall news, right? So you had a very, very clear, right? You see this drop in Rivian yesterday? Dropped from 19.5 to almost 18.5, reversed it, and then found the base, and then made the dollar to the upside. Now they got some recall, which, I mean, whatever. It doesn't seem to be reacting to it. But
buy the dip and carry on.
Yeah, look for that 19.5. See? Randy says buy the dip and carry on. Or you can say keep calm and carry on, which I believe is what you find in a lot of mugs.
All right, there we go, another dollar. Google is now up $1 from our spot, but again, with only 30 seconds to go, we do have jobless claims coming out. So who knows where this is going to go, man. I pulled my bid down there at 326, so but I still have that offer. So let's go back over to the desk, only 20 seconds away now, and we'll find out, if this market continues sort of its upside push that we're experiencing. Now 10 seconds, guys.
This is obviously just the initial jobless claims number and the ongoing jobless claims number. We'll get the big headline number for the month. Tomorrow morning, 199 is expected here, 199,000, or sorry, that was the prior, 205 is expected here. 208 is the actual number that comes through. Again, 209 was expected, so a little bit better than expected. Non-farm productivity coming through there, 4.9% to the upside, versus that prior print of 4.1%. Continuing claims, 1.914. Last time around was 1.85. We were expecting 1.85 as well. So to the upside for both continuing claims and initial jobless claims there. Import-export data for October, that's a delayed number still coming through. 331.4 billion on the import side, 302 on the export side. Both of those, looks like exports higher, imports downside a little bit on that number as well. 4-week average there for the continuing claims, 211.7, marginally improving there versus 219 on that last number. So not much of a reaction, guys, for the market.
I mean, slight tick up. I mean, the Nasdaq almost flat now on the session. So I'm looking at the Qs right now. So show you 624 is where you need to get to that green spot. But we've been trending into it. Just nothing too crazy happening here. We'll keep an eye on like the rate odds. Like after Miriam was talking, maybe they'll move around. But we know we're not really getting. Well, I shouldn't say we know. We're pretty much not likely getting a decision or for a cut in the next move. But if you look at it, like the full year is still pretty much expecting that we get a couple at that mid. But if we go back and now maybe look at March, forget about Jan, and March we're sitting at 40%. Maybe that'll start to creep up a little bit. Just not that optimistic about January in terms of the Fed. But I don't know how much this is going to move the needle. That number is too close to expected.
All right, I see here now in the chat we should have a day trading coming through very, very soon. So we want to thank him for coming one more time here from Barcelona. We'll see if we can get that all set up, hopefully. No promises, but we'll see if that can happen for everybody as I see him in the chat there. Yeah, so, we pulled our Google bids there. It doesn't look like too much happened. You're not getting too much of a bump up here in the market at all. If anything, now we're starting to fade back outside a little bit now. So watch out as this market comes back in. I don't know if they didn't like this trade balance number, but the jobless was pretty much in line there. This was the trade balance minus 29 versus minus 58. I mean, that almost should be better. But the market coming back down a little bit, that's more of a macro thing. I don't think that should necessarily affect the Nasdaq or anything, but we're going to wait to see if the market reacts. I don't know. It's just right back to where it was 10 minutes ago. So, we had some movement yesterday in a pre-market number, and it looks like we may have another number affecting us here to the downside. But yeah, let's just have a quick look at some of the other names. Palantir, right now, 186 and change. That's something going through right now. Oh, man, I'm waiting for 187 to break on that one. Hopefully that doesn't break on the pre-market because, again, I prefer to hit these trades during open market hours. But, yeah, that's what's going on right now. All right, it's 8:33 right now. Glad to have everybody here. Make sure you do hit the like and the subscribe. I mean, our viewers are starting to now pay a little more attention that we are on now at 8 a.m. So you can see right here, if this loads up, 549,000 subscribers. We'd like to get that to 550 today. So if you are one of the 3,000 watching right now, hit the subscribe button, and get in there. I just haven't refreshed. We do have more than 12 likes, I assume. So hit the like, hit the subscribe. More importantly, the subscribe button. Let's see if we can get those numbers going upside as well. It doesn't look like Bitcoin's doing much there. IBIT still that $90,000 mark. So all good on that front as well. All right, let's go back over the desk. It's Brendan and Adair. Not much happening with those numbers.
Not really. A ho-hum print there. Again, coming up on Friday morning, guys, 8:30, we'll get non-farm payrolls. That is a up-to-date number. So we will get last month's version, which it's been a while. So good to get back on track as far as the scheduling anyways for that data. Again, if you missed it, or if you're just coming in, again, hi, we start at 8 a.m. now, not 8:30. We did get some Canadian merchandising trade data there as well. Looks like that was downside, but what else is new? Non-farm productivity, 4.9% versus 5%, so a little bit of a downtick on that as well. Trade balances, negative 29.4 billion. The expectation was for a positive print around 58.7 billion. So one kind of offsetting the other here, I think.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is you mentioned we are going to be getting on-time data tomorrow for NFP, which is significant, but we're also going to be getting September and October data for building permits and housing starts. So there is still some delayed data that we're kind of processing. Never mind, we also got a bit of an update here for that next GDP reading. That's going to be February 20th, so a little bit earlier than what was initially expected. Even though the shutdown ended quite a while ago now, like literally almost 2 months ago, we're still seeing, I guess, that trickle effect here of the slowness of getting the economic data back on track. And as we mentioned, unfortunately, we could have another one coming through in January. But yeah, with regards to this jobs data, it's been kind of all over the place so far. But I think whatever the NFP number is, that's going to offset anything with JOLTS or ADP or what we got this morning.
Yeah, we're right back to, that being said, we're right back to basically aftermarket levels here for the overall markets, the Nasdaq. We're so used to talking about the Nasdaq as far as the market is concerned, but it has not been the Nasdaq leading the past little while here going into the end of the year, and then to start the new year off, it's been the Dow, it's been the S&P. Nasdaq has been lagging a little bit. Not the case today, however. Here's the S&P downside, or the SPY anyways, downside a little bit. I haven't looked at the Dow because why, quite frankly, but we should maybe start pulling, there we go. That one up as well, even weaker than both of them at this point. So we spent so much time talking about the AI trade specifically, talking about the Mag 7, specifically for the past year and a half or so. It's hard when that happens to, shift focus and say, okay, if defense is going to be the focus here, or one of the focuses going forward, AI is not going anywhere, but we have to kind of adjust.
Yeah, I think there is kind of an issue here of the concern of, again, Nasdaq being the entire market, because it's not, it's also a smaller index here than what we're seeing with the S&P as well, which I think is certainly worth noting. But yeah, I mean, I think yesterday really proved with the move in the housing names, as mentioned earlier, with that Trump post at 12:45, suggesting that large institutional investors could be banned from buying single-family houses. A lot of those names are not going to necessarily be these tech plays, right? And then we get even more downfall here, or bloodshed, for lack of a better term, with the defense play. So I think that really showed, to Brendan's point here, that sure, we always think about the tech names, but a lot of these moves sometimes are going to happen in these non-tech stocks, and you have to be prepared to look at these other indices as well.
Just reading a note here from Axios, OpenAI has spending commitments worth $1.4 trillion over the next 8 years. $1.4 trillion over the next 8 years. I mean, we obviously can't look at anything directly related, but Microsoft a little bit weak this morning to the downside, giving most of yesterday's move. This one I saw yesterday right out of the gate, absolute monster, and then gave all that back. Didn't really get any kind of bounce after the close, but we're back to 480 here, guys, for Softy.
Yeah, OpenAI's got a lot of commitments. They got a lot. There's a lot riding on them, but you know what? We're not going to have them public this year, so we'll wait for. Do
we know that for sure?
Well, the speculation is.
Yeah, I don't think we will. I just didn't know if that.
2027. I think we're.
Okay, I didn't know if that came out or not.
Yeah, like so far the speculation is Anthropic this year, SpaceX this year, and then OpenAI next year potentially. But like the proxy trades out there, like how good does Oracle look? That gives you a sign of where things are going. I actually think Anthropic did another funding round, the $350 billion in valuation today or yesterday. But Microsoft, this is not. First of all, it's not really doing anything to trade it, but it's not doing anything in maybe not the best way. Like there's stocks that go sideways, and you're like, yeah, but that's still a pretty good looking chart. Like, yeah, it's fine, it's barcoding here, but it's barcoding in an uptrend. I like what I'm seeing here. I don't know that how much of that's going to apply to Microsoft right now relative to the market. I want it to break out from here, it would be nice, but every time you want it to happen, it just gets absolutely like smacked at 490, like smoked at 490. So until it breaks out of this malaise, you really got to put it in the penalty box. I think that's exactly what it is. Like this one is a do not touch unless you want to buy accumulation because you're DCing into Microsoft and that's your baby this year, not for me. But when it breaks that 490 eventually, I think you get some acceleration. We've seen that happen with Amazon when it finds a bit of a bid. So I think Microsoft could do that, but it's tied up with this skepticism, I think, that A, they can get anything going with Copilot, and B, that OpenAI isn't overextending itself. Sean teased it, but we are ready. I can see him locked and loaded and looking fresh in the new year. So we've got Luis to talk about some small caps.
As promised, let's bring him right in. Lots to discuss as far as the brand new trading year is concerned. Luis Barbado joining us from the Real Trading office over in Barcelona, Spain. Happy New Year, sir. Good to see you, first off.
Happy New Year, Brendan. I'm sorry I've been away so long, but every Thursday was a day off this month, so.
All good. So have I. Fine. Welcome to 2026. I wanted to start just from a high level this morning, Luis. When we come into a brand new year, for whatever reason, we seem to get a little bit of a reset. Certain themes tend to come back into play, or new themes come into play. As we were just discussing a little bit there, defense seems to be popular over the past couple of trading days here for obvious reasons. But my question, when you focus on a specific market cap, lower end of the scale in your case, how much do you pay attention to the overall shift in what the market is paying the most attention to when you're looking for setups daily?
When you trade small caps, it's not much about fundamentals or what the biggest picture cycle in the market, but it's more about hot sectors. And of course, defense is a hot sector right now, drone sector as well. So it's not that much about the as I say, the whole picture of the economy or the macro structure or the political, but more about hot sectors. And as you say, we're very, very careful with the drone sector, with the defense, with all these kind of sectors.
When we zoom out a little bit on some of these, then I assume, when it comes to some of the drone type names, as you mentioned, we can get into some of the smaller names, not typically those types of stocks, though. You get the crazy news-based move, maybe pre-market, and then an all-day fade back downside. RCAT, I just brought up in front of me here. One of the drone stocks has been in pretty good shape here for the past couple of weeks. Is there a long bias until we're wrong in this case on some of these?
Well, usually we do what we call sympathy play. So we check the stock, one or two usually are very in play for the day. And then we usually track all the names in that sector. We have like a watch list per sector. So we look all the sympathy plays that we call all the stocks that are sympathy to this sector, to this stock in particular. It could be drone. It could be Trump family related stocks or defense or anything. So we look for which ones are with good technical analysis, with good chart, with good price action, and we believe it could follow the stock in play in the sector. Usually the stock in play, we look for the short side when it get, let's say, tired or losing volume, losing interest. We look for the short in this one and the long in the other ones who are, let's say, delayed for the primary move.
All right, let's work through a couple of these here. Let's pick off maybe the top three off that list. Tell me what you're looking at so far today.
We're looking at FLYX on Amex stock. Is airlines. It's pushing very, very, very strong this pre-market. Have it here. Sorry, I'm gonna put it here. So you're gonna look for wait a little bit this stock consolidate above VWAP, and we will look for the short against pre-market highs and with the expectations of losing the VWAP below $6. So only short this one. Backside, no front side if it breaks new highs. Only short backside with the pre-market highs as a stop. It could be a good one. If the market opens and it keeps high volume and keep higher lows, we will look for longs. But usually, as you say, we are more short bias traders. So we will look for a short on this one as soon as it loses volume and against pre-market highs.
And is this something, I haven't seen a headline on this, but for anyone that missed that, FLYX, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Which is fly exclusive Incorporated. I've never even heard of this company, but as you said, about 5 million shares so far, up more than 100%. Confirmation for anyone maybe that is hearing this conversation for the first time, Luis. As far as confirmation goes on something like this, that's up huge, 100% in the pre-market. What are you looking for to just say, okay, this is done?
It is difficult, of course. If it would be easy, we will be winning ratio 100% of the trade. But confirmation could be losing the VWAP, trading below VWAP, trading with lower volume when the market opens mainly. So we have like 3 points that we take really care. One is pre-market highs. If it's trading pre-market highs, higher of pre-market highs, we will not short this one front side. Second level is VWAP, of course. If it's trading above VWAP or below VWAP, it's another confirmation, and less volume when the market opens. After the price of opening, if it trades lower and lower volume, the higher the probability of fading is. So those are the 3 more or less factors that we look into. And of course, price action. Price action is very important. Check the level 2 time and sells, a lot of tape reading. And in this case, I haven't checked yet, but also probability of dilution. How healthy is this company, or is it possible that they do an offering at the money or through warrants or whatever?
All right, the only one I see, or only other one I see, pretty much has given it all back already here this morning. WOK might be a little bit late to the party here on this one.
Yeah, first, what you see, ACRV, this was a very interesting stock to trade, was moving higher pre-market. As you can see, this is a sample of where we have been talking about. It loses VWAP. You can go short below VWAP, or you can wait for a push to VWAP and go short against this VWAP rejection with the stop of higher highs, let's say, around here. You go short here, you have a lot to go jet down. And the other ticker is ACON. This is also a nice ticker. And it's another one pretty similar with what we're talking about. You see it's trading higher and higher, above VWAP. And for the first time, we see losing volume and losing VWAP. So it's another short probability of fading, all day fade against this VWAP.
If we're having the conversation around defense, around, as you said, drones to start things off, even if there are 1 or 2 of these, smaller end of the market cap scale that do pop up in relation to that, there needs to be some sort of filtering around that to make sure, we're not obviously trying to short something that is caught in something that's related to news.
Yeah, beside what we have been talking about of VWAP, pre-market highs and volume, we check institutional ownership. If it's very high institutional ownership, it is more likely that the stock could move up in more, let's say, manipulative way, because the high institutional ownership. And also we look the easy to borrow or very hard to locate stock. If it's a very easy to locate or easy to borrow, the more chances that it could go higher, because if it's free to go short, more people and bigger will go short. So the short squeeze is more likely on those kind of stocks. So those are another 2 figures, 2 numbers we look when we short these stocks.
Great stuff as always, Luis. Anything else catching your eye here this morning?
I think that those are the 3 main tickers, and also we are going to look the MNST. I think it was MNTS. This one was in play yesterday, very, very strong, and we are going to look for what we call the first red day. So after a very strong movement for a few days, 2 or 3 days, we're going to look for the first red day. So if it's open below pre-market highs and below VWAP, we'll short this one. Look, Luis, no matter how much has gone down, it can keep going lower and lower and lower, because if you check the stock, this is coming from $5. So you can go short in 14, 13, 12, and it has a lot of room to go down.
Just real quick, I know we've had a couple of questions in the past when you've been on about that screen that you're showing. Yes. You're essentially just looking for how many times in the past, when a stock is gapping up, does it end up closing red or just lower in general?
Well, we have a lot of things in this scanner that we have created. As you can see, it's a scanner that tells you everything that is going up or down with high relative volume, breaking highs. It tells you the news, the flow, the short flow, everything. We create this with Python, of course, and we program this. And what you're talking about is about this statistic. If you click in the stock, we have here how many times it has gapped up over 20% since 2020, and how many of these times it has closed red from the open. So it's not from the previous day, of course, but from the bell, from 9:30 in the New York, how many times from that price has closed red or green. So for example, Acorn, you can see that if you go short on this stock, every time that it gap up more than 20%, if you go short on the open, 85% you will make money because it will close red. And the average gap is 60%. So it's also important to check what type of day are you trading. So for example, we have to go to 3rd of March of 2025 to see a similar day, 100% up with high relative volume. So it's very important to trade the data, of course. You have to check the price action, the new of the day. So everything is not data. It doesn't mean you have to go short, yes, because it depends what is the new today, if it has a dilution probability and so many other things.
Fantastic. Luis, we appreciate the insight, as always. Best of luck today.
Thank you very much, and have a good start of the year.
Fantastic stuff, Luis. Yes, a couple small caps on my mind this morning, but also let's take a look at some of the analyst actions on this morning's pre-market session. At the top of the list here, guys, we have Lumentum getting a substantial price target increase with a buy rating going from $290 to $470. Also, we have an upgrade on Airbnb by Cantor Fitzgerald, going from an underweight to neutral weight, also raising the price target to $141. Slightly negative here this morning, only by a fraction. Now, as for Figma, also getting the overweight rating, guys, by Wells Fargo, and then Google. Sean was trading this earlier this morning, and it's definitely in play. We're positive around 1% at the making of this here. Yes, exactly, Katina, man. $370 is going to be that price target increase. And we're also going from a neutral to an overweight on Google, once again by Cantor Fitzgerald. Now, as for some of the retail names, Nike, guys, getting a downgrade by Needham. Negative here this morning, going from a buy to a hold. And then we have Toast, a Josh Brown favorite, or it was at least, outperform to peer perform, down 2.1% this morning. CoreWeave as well too, guys, getting that price target decrease, but still holding a relatively strong overweight rating. But the price target is going from $150 to $125. And then as for Sigma Lithium, you're down 3.7%, and you're going from an overweight to an underperform, once again down 3.7%.
Those upgrades and downgrades and the segment with Luis brought to you by PDSB Biotechnology. That's PDSB on the Nasdaq, and they're transforming how the immune system targets and fights cancer with an initial focus on HPV-16 positive head and neck cancer. HPV-16 can cause head and neck cancer, and more people are facing these high-risk cancers than ever before. HPV-16 positive head and neck cancers are projected to become the most common type of head and neck cancer in the U.S. in a few years. You can learn more at pdsbiotech.com. Shout out to them, link in the description. I want to thank them for sponsoring those upgrades and downgrades. And, well, someone actually asked us about Nike being at a buy spot in the afternoon yesterday, and there wasn't much positive that could be said about it. And yeah, whether it gets an upgrade or a downgrade or not, this one was downgraded to underneath a 50-period moving average and possibly headed to retest some lows. I mean, the good news is, well, possible good news would be if the tariffs get overturned, or at least a bunch of the tariffs get overturned by the Supreme Court. That would bode well for them. So there is something that could be positive for them in the near term. But for now, this one, big time failure. Actually, there's almost like a head and shoulders that could be forming here if you short that pop in today. No, but Nike looking incredibly weak. But there is at least a chance if a tariff turnaround could do something for them at the end of the week.
Look, smarter men than us have recently bought Nike, so you could see, I don't know if there's going to be a trade there. Nike?
Oh,
CEO,
you mean
Tim Cook.
Tim Cook,
Yeah, all these guys. I'm saying smarter guys.
I thought it was someone else.
Smarter
someone
guys than
new,
us.
maybe.
Yeah. No. I'm a little bit into Nike, but not much. It was years and years ago. More like during COVID when it was like hot to get some of those shoes. But my upgrade is Google today, and I mean, obviously, I just took in a couple more pieces here. It doesn't look like it wants to get above 327 right now until I guess real volume starts to come in a bit. So I'm just going to start to piece this thing out. I still really do like the 326. It is on the sticky note. Is the number one. Number one idea is Palantir, but I really do like Google to come out on there. Oh yeah, and by the way, this Bloom Energy just continues to take off. I mean, it was 108 or 107 or something there when we started the show. Yeah, 10, 108, 107, and now up to 122. So what a monster move. That actually, when we opened the show, it was 111. But from this morning, nice move up there on Bloom Energy, now up 12+% as that keeps on kicking higher here as well. And then hopefully my Palantir has not broken yet. No, it has not. So that's good. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people. It seems like a lot of people are bulled up here today. Like everyone in the chat seems to be thinking long. So that gives me a little bit of a pause for some of these plays, but I still really like the long. So I want to be part of that 187 break. I actually wrote down 187.25 as a break because that was yesterday's top there for Palantir. We're going to get over to the desk and talk about all of these names. We want to thank Luis again for coming through. And again, you know, probably the best small cap trader that we have here. Shari's not going to be here today, but he looks at all that. What a great scanner. Thank you, Luis, for sharing that. And just goes to show you, you know, if you're actually serious about this game, you know, you need to put the work in. And it seems like Luis is doing that with his proprietary software. So thank you so much for him to come through today. That was good. Good to have him back. That is for sure. And great job by Brendan there asking him the questions that you guys want to know answers to. So, and then also, man, I messaged Joe. I think those were some great graphics that he had. So great job there, Joe, on the upgrades and downgrades and the options talk that we always get from Joe every single day. He's added so much to the show. So I want to give a big shout out to Joe. Thank you so much for that. So Joe, you're the man. All right, let's go back over, man. It's almost 9 o'clock. We are live now every single day at 8 a.m. So hit the like, and more importantly, hey, did we get 550 yet? Let me just double check this right here. Probably not, but let's just keep on talking about it until we do. How about that? So if you don't want me to keep talking about it, you got to hit the subscribe button right now. Get it up to 550. We're at 549. Just a fun little key level that we're looking at, right? We got there's been some resistance. Needless to say, if we had a chart, we'd be bumping up to that 550 now for a minute. So let's
like Tesla yesterday at 438.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see if we can get it to 550 right there. Thank you to everybody for watching again. And 8 a.m. So set your clocks a little earlier. Shout out to Mike P. DeRider. This guy's posted already 1,400 messages. So we want to thank him for doing that already.
He's not messing around.
And yeah, enjoy your tea, my guy. And we're going to go back over there and talk some tea with Brendan and Adara.
Just be aware, Scott Besson on CNBC has been for probably 10 minutes or so, but market's not really reacting to that. But surprise, surprise, Scott Besson saying more Fed rate cuts are key to stronger growth. Shocking absolutely no one. We haven't touched on Bitcoin or crypto yet this morning. There was a note on Coinbase. I was just reading through here from Bank of America. Bank of America upgrading Coinbase to a buy. You mentioned yesterday sitting here, the CES tie-in here for not only them, but a few crypto-related names.
Yeah, I believe the main crypto-related name of the CES tie-in is actually Coinbase. And guys, at 12 p.m. Eastern, so 9 a.m. Pacific time, Coinbase is going to be partaking in like a 1 hour long panel event. It's not CEO Brian Armstrong, if I remember correctly, but it's another C-suite executive. So again, just letting you guys know here, I would keep an eye here on Coinbase potentially, or if you're trading it, just be aware from 12 to 1. We know yesterday Caterpillar had their panel at 12 p.m. Eastern, and the stock actually did move. On that panel, they announced a partnership with Nvidia. Now, not that we're expecting that from Coinbase, but I do think certainly worth keeping an eye on because CES can be and certainly has been moving stocks this week.
Not looking too bad right now. I mean, we did get positive for Coinbase early on that note this morning, but I mean, we're right back to basically flat here where it ended the day as of yesterday for coin. So one to watch. Maybe crypto not really doing a heck of a lot so far this morning, but let's talk about what is. If you haven't done so yet, grab the absolutely free watch list. Link is below in the description. If you are joining on the app as well, you just have to expand, and then the link will be below in the description for you. Top link will get you to the sign-up page for the watch list. Has absolutely everything on it that you need to know in the pre-market every single day. As we said, to kick things off here this morning, everyone was watching defense names late in the day yesterday. Huge move down, followed by a huge move right back up after the close on some interesting Trump comments. Timing, I guess, was the interesting part.
The timing is interesting. And Brendan, I have visuals. I haven't made an infographic of this yet, but I'm just going to show the post. So basically right here around 12, or just after 2 p.m. here, 2:06, 2:07, Trump going here in a pretty long post. Just to summarize, the biggest things he says here is that he believes that defense contractors in the U.S. are issuing dividends and stock buybacks, but they're not actually investing in plants and equipment. So with that in mind, he A, says that maybe they shouldn't be getting deals unless they up their U.S. investment, and B, said that he does not think the executives of these companies should be making more than $5 million per year. Well, I looked it up, and the number and the salary is interesting because I looked up, LMT, Boeing, and RTX. All of those CEOs made on average between like 18 million to 26 million in 2024. Even like CFOs are making more than 5 mil. So interesting cap. Then if you flash forward to what it's going to be like just over 2 hours later, 4:02 p.m., which this is what Brendan means by interesting timing, right after the close, he comes after RTX specifically saying that Raytheon, quote, needs to start investing in more upfront investment. And then that happens, RTX drops, but then not to worry, guys, because 15 minutes later, he announces that after some negotiations, he believes the military budget for 2027 should be $1.5 trillion, which implies more defense contracts. So in just 2 hours and 15 minutes, whirlwind trip for these defense names.
Yeah, full circle. We're coming back to those levels right now. I mean, I'm just looking at Lockheed Martin here, but some of the resistance levels that came into play yesterday starting to play once again, guys. 5:30 here on LMT.
Yeah. Broken record, but death taxes and government spending more money than they did before, and defense spending always going up. In the long run, that's just how it is, and you're seeing it. You're not just seeing it here; you're seeing it in Europe. Like there's what's one of them? Leonardo's a company in Europe that's actually up as well because Germany's been spending a bunch. And look, that shock didn't last long enough, in my opinion, to be happy that it happened, so you could catch some bids in there, because you really just had to be sitting on the bid yesterday in the afternoon for some of those defense names. Raytheon's a beast. It'll continue to be a beast. I love AVAV. That'll continue to work. That's a drone name that is going absolutely ham. It's up another double digits. Okay, fine. It's up 9.7% today. Not quite double digits, but this one's been insane. Since the beginning of the year, it's already up 30%. Complete insanity. It's like, yeah, well, that was fun. I'm considering actually ringing the register on a piece of it, which is jokes. We haven't even done our picks, and this was the first one out of the mouth. But it's Palantir today. There's a couple of things about Palantir. So you talk about the whole like CapEx and whatever spend. Well, if one of the things about spending more on military is if you start looking at the software side of it and advancing and getting a little bit more modern, then suddenly it would seem to me that you have a little bit less of the ire of some of what the president was complaining about, and that might be a little bit more protected. So I think your drone plays and your software plays, and your AI plays, those are going to be the better ones or the safer ones in the short term. That said, when I sat down today, it was just this. There was only two levels to look at. It was support that we got on the original headline, which is 80 to 81, and then it was the breakout through here at 187. There is room to A190, and then zoom it out a little bit further. The 190 level, which is just psychological, and then if you fill the gap a little bit more to the 92 area as well in play today for Palantir. So yeah, like the defense trade, but I mean, I wouldn't chase the other ones. That's the thing. Like you're just essentially buying Raytheon higher than you did yesterday at all-time highs. I don't see the point in chasing that move.
Yeah, I have different. I was saying that if you bought oil there on Monday, you're not going to find anybody to sell those shares to for that price. I feel a little differently about defense. I think that could still go upside a little bit, but we'll have to watch those trades. But yeah, the number one trade today. I'm already into Google. That's already the dollar right now. It's actually starting to go higher right here, Google. But yeah, I really like Palantir. That's that 187.25 break there with military spending back on focus with Trump. I mean, we were talking about it all morning, and then dip buys. I don't really know the exact area there, but I was thinking 183 to 184 there. There it goes. Yes, let's go right now, Google. Yeah, we heard that. I already looked at those stocks. Not much going on right there with Paramount.
If they raised it, it's a big...
$30 is...
That's what's not getting done, the $30.
Yeah, so I was saying 34, I think, gets done, but that doesn't look like that's going to happen. So, yeah, for me, Palantir, there is the, by the way, here's Google right now. Officially, I mean, it's been in the dollar club before, but there it goes, moving to the upside. I'm actually waiting at 327.48, so I'm right into here. Hopefully we can get that print, and then that would be a good start the day. All right, but back over to Palantir just real quick. All right, so right there, I was looking at yesterday's level, see if we could take that out. I mean, I could also see it dipping in, which is why we wrote that down. So the 200 period moving average there. Yeah, okay, so that's going to be hard to read, but $30 a share, all cash bid. I think that's Larry Ellison. Okay, personal guarantee, yeah. So I think the story remains the same there.
Same as before.
And we'll just wait to see if what goes down there. Deal 27.42. So that's with all those shares involved. So it's actually is going to be a much better offer by Paramount. But I guess I don't know. That's already done. They're
it's
gonna have
also
to pay.
being able to get closed. Like one of the arguments was that it would be more difficult to get the Skydance deal closed than FX.
Yeah, so anyways, if Palantir does dip in, I think that's going to be one of the better trades as well. So I am willing to take this right away off the open, and if it does hit off the open, we could either use 187 as our out, like just a real quick kind of like quick scalp trade, or you can take maybe less shares and wait to see if it breaks it, then you make that fake and break and fake back into VWAP again, which is 185.70. So I love the VWAP trade if we can get that on a break and then a make back in, or if we just continue to go southbound, I'm looking in this 184 to 183. I already talked about Bloom Energy. Oh, wow. Okay, by the way, Bloom Energy is going, but so is Google right now is $1.30 now. There goes Bloom, man, up 16%. That's the real winner over here. But there goes Google. I'm actually waiting at 85s to get some shares. So there it is, man. We get some more out right there. You see some whole bunch of printing now at 85. There goes. All right, that's a good trade, man. It's now 9:10. I don't know if I can do a better one. This is why you guys want to make sure that you're in here at 8 a.m. every single day. It's $1.60 now in the money. This could be the biggest trade of the day. I'll promise I'll look for more, as we all will. So yeah, there it goes, man. Google. Glad to take this one, and it was trading with enough volume in the pre-market that was able to put something on. So it also came back in. We missed the 326 break. We played it back into there. So we're going to go over Google at no point on the rundown, but I talking about it now, so we'll pass it back over. Memory again. My memory serves right. We had a $2 or $3 winner on Micron yesterday, so let's go over and see what Adair and Brendan want to talk about here as far as memory is concerned.
Just real quick on this updated Paramount Warner Brothers Sky deal. Looks like the change here is Larry Ellison has come out saying he's personally guaranteeing up to $54 billion in committed debt financing from him personally, and then the Paramount Sky saying they're pegging the value of the Netflix bid at $27.42 per share, which would make this completely financed $30 per share Paramount offer, obviously significantly higher. So we'll see, but I think it's just more personal guarantees from Larry Ellison. I mean, you and I were talking the other day just saying, I don't think this is over yet.
No, I don't think it's over. And I think, again, it is worth noting here, Brendan Carr, FCC chair, he's set to speak at CES 2026 today. Now, I cannot obviously guarantee or even assume that he'll talk about this issue, but given that he stepped in before here with these regulatory scuffles, there's a chance that he could. But I just really quickly want to say here, Brendan, before we get to the next story, with regards to this bid, one of the things that WBD and its board said when they rejected the most recent Paramount's guidance offer is they don't want debt financing. So I don't really know how more debt financing sweetens the pot for them at all, in my opinion, but we'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just more not the company, but it's Larry Ellison stepping in saying he's going to guarantee up to that 54 billion number. But anyways, I'm sure there's more to come as far as that is concerned. Let's talk about these memory names. Ended up being a bit of a dull kind of a trade yesterday. We go up, that's Micron, run up, touch the highs from the prior session, come right back in the afternoon. It does chop around here in the pre-market this morning and after the close yesterday, but we're still in this range.
Yeah, I think SanDisk, though, actually maybe not in the range anymore, trying to break out. There's like one story I could find on this, TrendForce, reporting that Nvidia has tightened its Rubin HBM4 specs for Q3 2025. So at that point, this is going to be forcing SK Hynix, Samsung, and Micron to redesign and resubmit their samples. Because they have strong BW demand here, Nvidia is going to be leaning into GB300 and HBM3E, which basically pushes this HBM4 mass production to late Q1 26 or early Q2 26. So a little bit of HBM jargon there, more or less. You're not a massive story, but these stocks certainly still in play.
One thing with this type of idea is if it's going to go, you'll know it's going to go, and it will be a pretty big deal when it's news-based like this. Yesterday, guys, not much to look at here for these.
Yeah, look, WDC was insanity. That dropped. We keep talking about the other side of the trade, which of course is, you know, SanDisk going ridiculous amounts every single day, but Western Digital got absolutely smoked in yesterday's trade, down about $20, double digits. It's flat now, but the curl that I thought was happening potentially could happen and obviously hasn't on SNDK. That seems like you could be doing it on WDC. This is an important day for it because you want to see, is it able to kind of bounce back, hold 200, get over 204? If it doesn't, I'm thinking back end on this one instead of SNDK. So, you know, you have to be able to pivot. My thought was if this trade slows down, that this is the one that was going to crack first. But you know what? If that's wrong, then you just move to the other name. That's sort of the idea. Like you can't, if you sit there and WDC is the one that pulls back and you're stubborn thinking it's going to be SNDK, then you're just going to end up getting burned. So, you know, my eyeballs will be on the former, not the latter. Not really looking at Micron too much in here today. It's kind of got an inside day going for it as well. But of those three, two of them at least aren't making some fresh highs, whereas SNDK is. So suddenly that's the lead horse in this race.
All right, yesterday, man, we sat here. I put these glasses on. Shout out to Pops Mafia. There's a lot of talk and people loving Adara's glasses. So I've been asked to join the crew. So I'm going to do that right there. Yeah, look, yesterday we traded Micron, and what a good short that was. Right into here, 340 a couple times to the downside. And yeah, that's not even the end of the day there. That's 2 o'clock. You see, we get into 337 right there yesterday on that trade. So a couple good shorts yesterday for me on Micron in the afternoon. It was basically one of the only trades that I put on there in the afternoon. I think I have to go back and look, but yeah. So it is eventually coming back in. It's just like I said, if you've shorted it any time over the last little while, you've only had a couple days maybe where you've been able to cover, and unless you ultimately shorted the very top of those markets, then you probably didn't make any money. I mean, the only time that I was talking about a short was right into here because we had seen it fail off of, at that point was the highs, came back in, hit the high again, failed back to the 50, came back in, hit the high, failed back to the 50, and then that next time when it actually took it, we went nothing but upside. So there it goes, man. Micron shooting the moon right here, upside on MU. So yeah, that continues to work it out. We did get $2 though on Google. Google goes all the way to 329 there. So we actually got almost $3. We're long at 326.38. Our best outs is 328.75 or so. So less than half of this position on, and looking good here for Google as we continue to climb upside on this one. APLD earnings. Let's go talk about Applied.
A lot of people were mentioning this one yesterday going into the close. We did get wild back and forth action here on the actual report and the numbers coming through after the close yesterday. When all is said and done, however, not much to look at as far as the price action here.
Yeah, not too much to look at. These numbers, though, are not bad. Adjusted earnings coming in flat, better than the expected 10-cent loss. Revenue, $126.6 $6 million, well above estimates of just under $90 million in revenue. And that's also nice growth here from $36.16 million last year. Their HPC hosting business revenue, $85 million. Their data center hosting business revenue up 15% year over year. All in all, not a bad look for APLD.
Yeah, it's been a decent trade over the past couple of months here to the upside if you zoom out a little bit for Applied Digital, guys. But as I mentioned, $31 holding, but nothing really exciting to look at here as far as price action.
I mean, all things relative. I mean, in the pre-market, it's moved up and down a couple of percentage points already, like 30, underneath 31 into 31.6. And then back into 31. Remember, that's 2 points. It's up 5, and it's an earnings name, so that doesn't seem like much, relatively speaking. But I would suspect it is going to be volatile. I'm not a huge fan of earnings names that are not trading in a new range. It has a chance to maybe break out, but when you've made the high in the pre-market, I don't equate it to a small cap, but it's kind of in that range. It's kind of the same thing. Like if it's gapping up, like I want it to be over the highs. Otherwise, not interesting at all. So this one might end up being a pass. You could maybe take a look at some of that buy support, and if you really, really like APLD, buying into this one, going into earnings seemed like it was the way to go. But it's going to move. There's no question about that. Like most people are going to be happy to see a couple of points here or there. But on an earnings name, that's not a lot. You just got to put things in perspective.
Thank you so much to Harlov there. Yeah, look, man, we always have these picks, and sometimes you go up and go down, but don't get disappointed. I mean, whatever you buy in the pre-market is always a little bit of a crapshoot. So I do want to thank you for those nice comments. Of course, on Thursday, Glasses Day, here, as many people saying in the chat. Yeah, APLD, look, I want to talk about Oscar quickly. Oscar Health here, straight upside. I know Adair's busy over there, but potential news on Oscar, I don't know, I was looking, I didn't see too much there, but there goes OSCR straight there to the upside. So potential, healthcare talk, I guess, maybe from Trump there. Yeah, sure. I'm not even sure. I'm in Oscar. This has about a 12 or 13% short float. I've liked it and been buying it basically off of these levels right here. And it's been a good trade so far. We did get something out when it went to the upside, but nowhere near what we should have in hindsight, because it went up to $24, then got cut in half right there, back down into $13. Now goes Oscar. So that's going to be a good name. It was on the sticky note on Monday or Tuesday for a long at $15, but since then we've broken out, and now we're going up to 17 and change as OSCR continues. I did take another piece out on Google at 328. So, hopefully we can climb a little bit higher. I'm at 329 break. I'm longer than that, so I'm over that. 329.17 is my next offer. Hopefully we can grab that. And for those of you I see right there, Farouk, or is that who it is? No, Farhan, shout out to you in the chat. Just go over, you got to go over to my Twitter feed and find it at TraderTV Sean. I'll put this in the chat there for the sticky note. It has Palantir as your #1 name. And unfortunately, for most of you, if you're not here at 8 o'clock, then you wouldn't be able to see this trade, but this is the #2 name on the sticky note, and of course it breaks 326 early, so that's what we have right there for Google. But I'll put it right here in the chat, and we'll get going on this absolute monster. One of 2 names on the Mag 7 that beat the S&P 500 last year. So, okay, back over to the desk to talk about a big name that is continuing to have a little bit of a shuffle. That is Apple.
Yeah, I mean, great move for Google this morning. I was just double checking there. 328.16 I have as far as, 328.83 all-time highs there. So potentially Google set to open here at all-time highs. Apple definitely not, and continuing to slide in the other direction. So tale of, a new year, new storylines. Once again, we see Apple switching spots here on the market cap scale with Google, and right at or back too close to session lows here so far.
Yeah, and for the first time in 6 years, Google saying, hey, Apple, I'm going to usurp you in market cap, which certainly a big change in the tide, though, again, not for Apple's price action, which continues lower. There's one kind of a story here in Apple, nothing major. It was on our watch list this morning, so if you can always reference that. But basically, some antitrust stuff in India. India's antitrust watchdog telling a court that a law calculating fines based on global turnover is going to help deter multinational companies from breaches. They're trying to counter a challenge here to the measure from Apple. Apple wants to strike down this law because it would be facing fines of up to $38 billion with regards to alleged abuses related to its App Store. That's it, though. It's just some court jargon stuff.
Just seeing a note here from Fitch, ratings agency, expecting U.S. Federal Reserve to cut rates twice in the first half of 2026. That's on the back of Scott Besson on CNBC this morning saying he agrees, should be more cuts, but probably thinks they should be delayed into the second half of the year. So market not moving on that. But yeah, relative weakness here more than anything, guys, for Apple. Yeah,
as far as the rate thing goes, we'll keep our eyes on that rate tool because, based on Miran's comments and Besson and now even more, you might see, maybe we'll see a little bit of a shift because I was going in the wrong direction if you like cuts early on. Apple has been going in the wrong direction all year, which hasn't been very long, but it also hasn't been very pretty. But sometimes you have to feel about this, a little bit counter. I think this is an opportunity. 45 first, and then the 200-period moving averages. I likened this yesterday to when everyone was sort of disappointed is a better word than crapping on a stock like Amazon, and each found a support level on its pullback. It's like, why is it pulling back when it's worse than everything else? Then it goes right back into where the prior support was, and now it starts to look good again. And that passing of the torch, just from one to the other, you have Google looking strong right now, you've got Amazon looking pretty good right now, you've got Microsoft and Apple not looking all that great, but that doesn't usually last forever. So I'm thinking right around here, the 45 on the higher time frame for sure on Apple. And look, it's going to give you like a point here or there, but I don't necessarily see this as much of a trade today unless it tries to fill the gap, and then you're just looking to fade inside of the gap on Apple. Like when I'm looking at shorts, I'm looking at something like an IBIT today, which was all day yesterday. It was a good short. You just multiple reloads, and it just trended down. And now it's underneath the place where it bounced. So it bounced right off of our support line, which is at 51.4 on IBIT. So I want to just play the short again. If we pop back in here, look for the curl, something like this, maybe a topping tail, trend break, and then that'll give you the entry. Otherwise, standard operating procedure would be if you don't get that, look at some pre-market highs to be able to fade. And once I see the trend, just try to establish and short as it continues to go down. With Apple sliding, I just like the Bitcoin slide better.
4 positive days since December 1st. So definitely not. Oh, my mic is acting up again. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, but Apple right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days basically and straight down. So this is definitely in the penalty box, as our good friend Brian Shannon likes to say. I would honestly think this is coming back into this 240 to 245 area. So for me, I'm not a buyer of any more Mag 7s, I don't think, this year. I'm not, they're not on my radar, but and I'm also not a seller of any, so I'm just gonna hold and see what winds up happening. Like I said, underproducing the S&P 500 last year. Right there, 245 or so would have been something to look at for Apple. It was great trade back there in September. The last time I bought it was down into here when we broke through this level. So we actually got 212s the last time, and should have, like I said, if I was swinging these things and looking to trade out of them, that would have been a great little spot up there at the highs, but that's true of any stock. There's the pullback down in 257. I think we are coming in to 240, 245. I still think it's a China story, and we need to hear a little bit more about what's going on there in China to sort of open up the floodgates one more time for Apple. Their flip phone, I think, is going to be great once it's released. The iPad is like the sales of the iPad is like, I forget the stat, but it was something like total sales of the iPad is like more than the sales of like almost like every other electronic unit out there. An iPad is only like, a fifth or something of their revenue. So it's absolutely unbelievable, some of the numbers that Apple continues to put up with their products. The #1 consumer product in the history of the world. Apple, people love it, and they're not going to stop. It just, right now it is in the box, and you got to wait for it, man. It's serving like I feel like it's serving, Joe, 5 minutes for fighting, and then maybe you got a 10-minute misconduct or something there, Apple. So we'll have to wait to see if Gary Bettman throws down a suspension on this name. But right now, 245, I'm already in hockey mode. 245 right there coming into play for Apple in the next little while, I have a feeling. So yeah, we'll sit on our hands and wait to see what happens there with AAPL.
All right, let's talk about silver here. 6.8 billion in commodity futures rebalancing set to happen into the third week of this month. Basically, between tomorrow and the 15th, we could get that amount on the sell side for commodity index futures, specifically on the silver side of things. So a couple of days in a row here, really, really heavy selling, including, once again this morning, down better part of 5% here for silver so far.
Yeah, I was looking a little into that commodities futures rebalancing. I think that's certainly going to be an interesting look. Other metal plays as well, including you could do GLD. I know like the palladium and the platinum plays were interesting. But yeah, I think certainly with this like massive pop and then drop that we had in SLV, especially with it floating so much near all-time highs, it's certainly going to be a play to watch out for. This rebalancing is, I think, just another catalyst, another thing to be aware of as you trade it.
Yeah, and context, as we always say, key, zoom out. Here's a daily chart of silver, 42.50 down here. That's just going back to November, the end of November. So 42.50 up to 72.50 at the high in a matter of a couple of months here. So, I mean, yeah, it's down a lot so far today, 5% or so, but I mean, we could see a lot more, I think. Neil, you've been watching this closely.
Yeah, it was between this and Bitcoin, and I kind of went with the one that I was trading yesterday for the fade, but it's so eerily similar that I might be willing to do both. It's just very distinct. Bitcoin has been like weaker at a very key level, whereas as opposed to, hey, you just made that top, you know, it was a weekday, but with a bit of a V shape. There's your gap down. You're underneath prior. You got the close and prior lows to work off of. It's going to take a kind of a big pop to get to resistance on SLV, making it not quite as exciting, just in terms of like the key level that we're at, like right now in the moment here. So, you know, I do like it. Look, I do like silver for the short. I'm just going to be preferring IBIT here today. But if we come back in, if I say I don't get a trend on IBIT, it just never comes back in, and we come back to like a 68.3 or so, right in here, like that higher low kind of corresponding with this level, then I might just try to join SLV. And it might seem extreme, but the top end of this range has been absurd. Like we've traveled 64 to 74 a couple of times in here. A retest down at this level, you know, down into the mid 60s, kind of would make a little bit of sense. And even if it were to go crazy unwind, the 50 period is literally 22% away, downside on SLV. So like this could stay volatile for a while, but I kind of favor Bitcoin for the short. Very, very similar charts though. The early look at, the imbalances, not much. We'll see at 9:28 when some of the Nasdaq names come in, but I'm not seeing anything that's going to be very interesting on the imbalance locator or that is of note.
Yeah, okay. I was looking myself at see if there was any Google. The only thing I have here, of course, is that. So we're going to just wait off. There goes Google. We just took another piece out there at 328.50 as it continues to go a little bit higher. Yeah, look, I'm not into any silver, so you know that's that. But I'm into gold, and you know we like some gold down here. And I don't know if it's going to get back, obviously, into 360 to 370 area, but I think you just continue to watch this 50-period moving average, right? And I mean, if you can get back into 385 to 390, that to me seems like a great little spot there for gold. But with only a couple minutes left right now, let's go over some of the, thank you, Randy, right there, for another reload. I like that one a lot. Randy, today Ford is on my look. They're breaking through 14. They had big news yesterday with the autonomy of level 3 they're looking at right now. And they're going to drop a $30,000 truck next year. And we're going to wait to see if Ford can go. And look at this, Randy. Whether or not you like this stock or not, I said that you're going to say something bad about it, so it doesn't really matter your opinion. Yep. But right there, breaking through 14. We touched out there in October. We had fallen back in, hit the 50 period. So, you know, although Lucid today has recalls, Ford definitely, as Randy's educated us over the years, has had many of those. And right now looking to break, Randy. So I'm going to take a $14 long there on Ford. Yeah, why not, man? Traders got to trade, and I like that one. And then Open Door, maybe looking for a short there. Google long, which we're already in right there. Randy, we're $2 right now in on that one. And then Palantir. Yeah, Google is on fire. The second richest company now in the world by market cap, overtook Apple and still Nvidia still king of the castle, and the rest of us apparently are just dirty rascals. Right here, but here goes 329. Right now, we're at 329.17, and there it goes, man. Neil, it is your face slapper of the day right now. It is $3 in the money as the energy gets kicked up here on the floor. Intel $43. Google just really ripping right now to that upside. As we'll have a quick look here, not no imbalances or anything that's affecting this right now. There's a lot here on the AMEX. Exchange there, but it's ATPC and really nothing else. But there goes Google, man, an absolutely monster play to start the day. Daily goal met in the pre-market. That doesn't happen too often. Yeah,
that's what it's all about. I know you briefly said open door, but that was a great short yesterday. I'm looking continuation for it. I know it's up 2 points, but $6.50 into the afternoon.
Oh, boom.
Is one place to play into. So like some open, some people might have been looking at BX yesterday that got absolutely smoked on the same headline. Palantir does not look like it is, yeah, it's coming in a little bit, but not much. So forget about support for now. It's still in the range of potential breakout. We did not talk about Tesla. Tesla's gonna have to wait. That 438 that it couldn't break and the 440 breakout, all that stuff in the rear view. Tesla down almost a full percentage point and looking incredibly weak. So, I mean, the shorts I like open. We're talking about IBIT a little bit there. And we didn't discuss Nvidia. That's not on my radar. It wasn't the biggest mover in chip land. That was actually Intel yesterday in terms of volatility. And just based on the spread and liquidity, Intel looks like it's going to resemble yesterday more than its normal type of action. And when that's the case, let that first 15-minute come in. As this opening bell is brought to you by Beta Pro by GlobeX. Shout out to them. And let's get this Thursday started. Ring it.
All right, here we go, man. I'm waiting for, there we go. We get another fill. 330, we get that fill right now as Google is going off right now. Huge move there for Google. Breaking now through 330. We've got your first $3 there off the sticky note. Good trade there for Google. We're looking for Palantir now. I put a bid down here near 184. We'll see if we can get that 184.25 or so. We just dropped right into that level. I think we're going to get it. I mean, Palantir is going the opposite way right here. We did not expect that by any stretch of the imagination. So we'll try maybe a little bit here then on Palantir and see if we can't catch something there. But yeah, right now Palantir heading to the downside. So we'll take a little bit of we're not taking a bath on anything yet, but Palantir is coming into those levels. And yeah, that's what I was saying. Remember when I said about oil, like sometimes you'll get those trades and then that'll be the last you'll ever see of that. I don't think that's true of these defense plays. So let's try to buy some of this dip right now in Palantir and see if we can't, absorb this little initial move down. Google, wow, what a good out that was. That's cranking back into the market right here. Sick with it. Remember I said like everybody was thinking long today? I mean, there it goes, man. Nice move to the downside early here on many of these plays.
Yeah, IBIT down. The only thing it's not down right now, believe it or not, actually you probably do believe it, is Intel. Intel just burst $1 higher here, so I mean, I was like 43 is the over/under level. If it can close above 43, gonna like that. Did not get that short. I've already canceled my offer in IBIT because we just broke the low, so the chance of getting that high is something for a little bit later in the day. We'll look at 51 here for IBIT as we just cracked 90,000. We're at 89.5 on Bitcoin. Quick reversal in the market. We didn't think that number was going to be that big of a deal. But also didn't think that it would turn us back into the red either. Oh, open door is the other thing I'm tracking. Not much. Open door, a little bit of a flush. It's back to where it started, so gonna have to be patient for this. I'm looking at 6.5 as the fade zone for open after yesterday's news. Nvidia not doing much. AMD, if you're tracking that one, that also headed to the downside initially. Yeah, not looking very good of a start here on the day. Got to be patient. I don't want to catch any falling knives.
Yeah, I think that's basically what I've been doing. I actually wrote down yesterday that I was going to try to wait for the first 5 minutes of trading every single day, but it's a good thing we didn't do that too much on Palantir as that's starting to go back to the upside here right now. Let's see if it can sort of mature into its valuation right there. Huge. Wow, we should have got. I wasn't even paying attention, man. I was looking at Google. That just ripped up into 185, man. That was 75 cents. We should have had that trade there. Damn. Too bad there for me on Palantir. That low right now is 183.50. So I think if we can break through like 182 or 183, we could stop out of that one. But let's give this one a little bit of room to like I said, to get back to the upside. We're rating at 185. If we can break through there, I'm going to take another piece right here at 75s, just because we're in at 20s, so we're looking to see there it goes for a bigger play here on Palantir. Good amount of shares loaded up right now, and then we also have a much bigger position too in Google that we've had before. So we make back everything right now, but we got to hold on for dear life now and hope that this market does make a comeback. We were pretty dead in the water there for a minute, and then everything came back. So you got to have faith in your positions, and we do so far. But wow, that was not the move down that I don't think I was expecting anyways. And here comes Google. My out on Google is honestly a break of like this 325 break. We got to be very, very careful with it because it just made all-time highs. So you are seeing some sell-off of that number. We saw Tesla get hit there off of a similar take when they hit their all-time highs, and it looks like Google is doing it right now again off of that 326. Well, we got to 329. I can't believe I have a 329 fill. Actually, I have a 330 fill right there. So let's see if it gets back to the upside.
Where is it? 326?
Yeah, man.
No, we're crazy whipsaw action. We tried the breakout there on Intel. I like that 43 is the out. It looks like it's going to be a big volatile day for Intel, but I only want it long over 43 or kind of shorts underneath 42. Like I don't want to be sitting inside of this range too much. IBIT came into VWAP, as you can see here. So Bitcoin back to about just underneath 90,000. So I want to look for the short underneath these higher lows here on Bitcoin. As the Nasdaq is starting to take a turn, continuing its turn to the downside as we can speak. So kind of looking for the short entries that we're trying to get into. Open door, nothing. Open door is still not really moving at all, so that might end up being a nothing burger. SoFi from yesterday, go figure. Market down, SoFi suddenly strong again. Why not? That seems to be breaking out. I'd be a little bit skeptical of that, but if it can break 27.4, that was something we were half interested in the afternoon. It just couldn't happen. No, with the market heading back in here rather heavily, decently heavily is what I should say, with Nvidia down at the lows. Just IBIT for me until some things can settle down. I like 81. I don't think Palantir is going to get down there. I have to start looking at where the chips could go. Yikes.
Yeah, we're just trying to sit on our hands a little bit here. I do have some offers for Google. There it is. So let's just keep this going. Wow, we are now huge. Okay. Now we're starting to go. So now we've hit a good little level for us as the market trying to blow upside here for us. So that was a great take. Palantir just roofed us right there, man. That was huge. Back up to 185.50 there. Look at PLTR, man. What a great stock this name is here today. So it's just starting to go a little higher. I mean, we'd like to see this break through. The problem is the market, right? I mean, we can all look at here and see exactly what this market's doing, but it is a nice upside take so far. You got to put some offers a little bit higher on some of these levels. I have a stuck. Oh, 255. Okay. Yeah, I was just looking at Google there. It did get in, so we just took a bunch out there at 326.75, and then all of a sudden, I thought I had a bad quote there, because then it just went to 325. Real quick. So, okay, we'll stop out there. It breaks through 325. We're still fine on Google, but the market is now taking more lows. So more outs right there. We're up on the day, but Google, we do take a bath on that last bit of shares as it breaks through 325. But I like the stock. I actually think I should get back into this name a little bit here on Google, because we'll buy some 80s right there, and just to see, it is at the 200 period moving average. I mean, this market just turned red like real quick there. So not to be too stubborn, but Google right now is trying to turn around a little bit and head southbound off of a great all-time high play there up to 330. But
just a quick heads up, yeah. We had one brief quote freeze.
Oh, okay, maybe that's what I saw.
And some slow messaging. Execution's been absolutely fine. Slow messaging just means like you'll get a fill. It takes a second longer than you're expecting, but it was just our office. So I've already. Okay. I don't have a ticket on that. I just put it in the real trading chat. The market's headed to the downside. Open door is cruising toward potentially that 650 area. That's where I want to have the fade. Silver as well. So I'm in IBIT. I don't want to have both. If it wasn't for the fact that I'm in IBIT, I'd be looking for this pre-market high to try a little bit of a fade there. But we are headed strongly up, or bouncing strongly relatively on SLV. I don't mind getting back into Intel, but I want to see something distinctly change because it went for a breakout trade, and now we're breaking through these. Now we're potentially breaking through these lows, I should say, that 42. So I wanted a 43 break. Thankfully, we got away from that very quickly. So in one short, and that's going to be IBIT. I'm not even yet. I should get on the bid now. What am I doing? I'm going to say I'm not even on the bid, which is kind of silly because I want to get down into that low of the day here. But 89.5 is kind of where we're hovering in and around. As long as we can hold underneath that 90K, I think we could be in for another trend short day. Nvidia still tanking. Tesla.
Yeah, nothing's stopping these things.
Whoa, okay, never mind. Tesla, I was about to say Tesla's still to the downside. Tesla, that's a huge reversal candle off the open if that's real. If that wick is legit, it looks pretty legit to me. It's a $5 candle almost, and now we're headed back into the upside. So Tesla is showing some signs of strength if you happen to like that one, but I don't, so I'm gonna stay away.
No, I'm going to start to tap out of pretty much out of all of these right now. I mean, they're not. We got it reloading Google and it went back to the upside, so that was fine. But you know, we had to get out of it, and right now we're going to have to get out of Palantir too, because that right here looks like it wants to break through. There it goes through. What did it go through? There it goes through 183. So we have to slap the fail initially. Well, Palantir was fine, but you know, it does fail out to that bottom. But I do still. Like, I'm thinking this market bounces, right? I mean, this is just a matter of trying to figure out where exactly these plays want to go. You know what? With that kind of a logic that the market maybe bounce, let's get back in just with small. Okay, we're trying not to be stubborn here, but I also don't want to stop out at the very bottoms, only to see this one go back there to the upside. But is it the bottom for Palantir? I mean, this is 182 right there on your 200 period moving average. And that's not a horrible spot. And actually, that's what we wrote down for Palantir, 183 to 184 area. So the fact is we just tipped down into that spot. It's too bad because I really like the 187 break long right there. But there's the 184 area. We tried it. We went long. It was good. Then we basically tried it again. We weren't able to get out until eventually it breaks 183. So like make $1 and change, lose $1 and change, and still in this one. And we just went positive. Well, we just went positive on this trade on Google, and then it just fell right back in again. So yeah, right here, Google trying to figure it out around 325. And again, we wrote down the dip levels for Google could go to 321. So we have to be a little patient here and wait out to see what happens with Google, because the market's cranking lower here today. Maybe they just don't trust Trump anymore. Like, he just says one thing out of one side of his mouth and then something else at the other side. So you got to be careful about trading some of these names, like in the defense space, I think. Or
you could just be in these small cappers or these runners. ONDS,
yeah, runners.
That just broke out again because it's been doing this every single day. 18%. I see a lot of people in the chat mentioning it for sure. Rocket Lab. Well, I'm not going to go with any silly puns. You guys can think of a million puns for Rocket Labs being up another 5%. Bad day for ASTS and Rocket, but starting to come back in to set upside. I'm going to reload in a second in IBIT, but Palantir almost to that 181. So that's like, it was either breaking out the top or look for it to fill in the gap. So it's a little bit, it's not there yet, but we're getting there. I want to give it a little bit more time to try to make another bottom. There's the reload at VWAP this time on IBIT. We're able to get some out, but not all. Like at this point, I've only taken a quarter out and looking for it to hold under VWAP and do what it did yesterday, which is kind of work its way gliding to the downside. It was a very channel-ish type of session. Open door is bouncing, and the market's not catching any bid, and this is not really slowing down. But I do want this one short, so just, again, have to be a bit patient. Want it to fill in a little bit more of the gap here on open door before we jump into it. And there's APLD.
Yeah, the earnings play, yeah.
Remember, it was like, it's not moving that much, but it's moving now. 15%, but that's a heck of a fail break at 35. Look at that reversion to 35. You don't like fail breaks like that if you cannot hold on to the volume-weighted average price. So good look on APLD for those that happen to be involved. But my eyeballs are squarely now on Palantir, which is $1 away. If it caught a bid at exactly 181 in the aftermarket, usually those kind of gap levels can be important. We've had one green candle in this first the 3 minute here. Now let's see if it can find another one down here at 181, but this is falling like an absolute rock.
Yeah, I mean, actually, you know what? We could check out, you know what, LMT. I'm still waiting for 180. So, yeah, that's not really moving too much there. LMT and RTX had some negative talk to it yesterday as well, and you know their upside. So yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe eventually here today the Nasdaq gets a bid, but it's not looking like it. And I think Apple was a stock that we had talked about early as well. For Apple, and that's, you know, hitting lower, which is, wow. The market just took another leg lower right there. This is Crush City right now to the downside for many of these names. So here comes, that's Google still. Yeah, so Google's actually doing fine considering this move in the Nasdaq. Like, that's pretty violent, man. You're going to get back into 25,000, it seems like, pretty soon. 25.6, I don't think so today, but 25.6 right now into play there for that. But yeah, Palantir 181.40 right now, heading lower. We're out $1 right now on Palantir, and we're basically flat here on this Google trade, looking to see if we can put some money in our pocket on this trade. But it's Palantir that's the problem, not really Google right now. So all good there, but there goes PLTR right down into 181 in change. So yeah, my average price is 182.39, so it's not looking great right now. But you know, we know that Palantir can get back up to the upside, and I was just thinking like we've fallen back into this area, so that's 180 right there. It might want to test that area. So here we come right back in on Palantir. Big time movement to the downside. We're out $1.50 on this name right now.
This market is certainly losing it. We're almost a full percentage point to the downside. We just got the break of the low. Oh, of course, it's going to bottom the tail candle.
Good.
A little break of the low here on IBIT. We're still only at 89.5. Like, that's been the bottom. So as long as that wants to hold, I should try to get at least one more leg out.
Right there. Shit.
Let's try IEX. Get the fill there. If we come back into VWAP, I'm going to reload it. But it's crazy to me that open door is strong, but it is. Under my breath. All right, market weak. One short working, but it's getting real close to putting on another one here in open. Just trying to let it press into 650 and then try to take that bit of a curl. But it is not looking good at all. Palantir is now at 181 bucks, and I haven't seen anything yet. Yeah, I haven't seen anything yet that's looking like it's catching a bit of a bid. If I see the tape turn or bottoming tail wick, maybe something that can make it look like we're catching a bid. Nvidia is at yesterday's low, and it's also trying to go. And then the chip name that I took the hit on for the breakout trade, well, I have to observe the fact that you're not breaking lows on Intel.
Wow.
The good news is that it's actually relatively strong here on Intel, which means I feel like I should be looking along here, maybe not somewhere else. But it was already a loss, but at least it's not at the low of the day. Everything else is literally at the low that I'm watching. Save open door. Go for it.
Yeah, open door was the one short that I was looking at myself as well. But okay, man, Google is now at a spot where we need to try to draw some sort of a line in the sand right now. Down to 322 and change right now for Google. So this is an area that, you know, we had mentioned looking long into here was 321 dips, but I wanted to buy a little bit of something down there. So now you can see our average price is 323.25. So we're actually back into the money now on Google. So let's take a little bit of an advantage of that. If it does bump up, man, we should, you know, feel comfortable taking something out up there. But I don't know if we're going to get that bump, man. So 324 O's or so, if we can get it, we'll put an offer there. But it's trying to go now, making our life a little bit better, back up to the upside now for Google. So there it goes. And again, I want to just get out of some of these trades, right? I mean, it is a monster right now, but we got to be careful with it. Palantir also, finally, Neil trying to go. I don't know if you got those 181s, but that's trying to go upside right there. And here comes Google, just roaring right back, man. We got, I don't know, we did have a couple hundred shares down there, so it was getting bad, but now obviously it's getting good. So we like Google down here and see if we can make a run back to the highs there on GOOGL. So nice move there, and then Palantir goes right back into the money. So so far so good, but we have taken a bath on Palantir today. Google's been a great trade. It's Palantir that we really haven't been able to get out of too much. So if this can make a move back up for the futures finally, there we go. We're almost back to the high of the day for myself. So there goes Google right now, and there goes Palantir. Google, the one that just stopped though. So hopefully it can continue. We just got a bunch of outs there at 324, 324s and change. My best outs in and around there. Let's see if we can get going backside here for Google. But wow, we were pretty smoked there until that just happened. So yeah, no, sometimes you just got to sit there and take the fills and take your medicine. And right now it is an upside play, but yeah, we didn't really manage that too good. I would have loved to have sat down there and taken the monster position a little lower there on Google, but we did do enough and enough to get us back to positive on the name. So there goes Google. Let's see how high we can fly from here.
Yeah, the market is trying to go. Palantir, that turn was, if you sit on the bid, you probably get it. I can tell you back through 181 on a break back through, no fill. And then at 181.5, no fill as well. So neither one of those, I'm not going to leave the bids in. If it gets down there, I'm on it anyways. Reloaded IBIT and into open for the first time. Nvidia is trying. It's really, really trying to go. But it's not really doing the job that everything else is. So off that bottom, the Nasdaq's still creeping up, and Nvidia is retesting the low of the day. Makes me a little bit skeptical about the chip involvement here and how good that's going to be. I said I was going to consider going long into Intel if it could break back through because it was relatively strong. It rejects VWAP. The rules usually tell me false break at the open and then start riding VWAP, then you should be short because that is a short setup. It's a short setup. I don't care if I'm biased on the stock to the long side. I should be looking short when that happens. So I'm going to look short on Intel and just kind of flip up the idea. Let's go and talk about Beta Pro maybe?
Correct. Now, savvy Canadian traders are looking to boost their exposure, can now tap in, and I saw actually Beta Pro, I saw Global X advertising on CNB something yesterday as well, so we want to thank them for advertising here. Much better choice by them. Is that tap into the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100 with Beta Pro 3 times daily levered ETFs, man. They also feature that built-in hedging that we all love as far as FX is concerned. These are, maximizing your short-term returns on some of these 3X markets, including S&P TSX 60, treasuries, utilities, and whatnot. Whether or not you're feeling bullish or bearish, these are built for active traders. Please read the full risk disclosure to assess what the due diligence is necessary in any investment that you make. We want to thank Beta Pro and Global X for their involvement here with Trader TV Live. Yeah, so all right, it's quite the move right here in the market as we made. Okay, there we go. So we just stopped out of Google. That was going to be it. So we're able to take money out of that name right there back to the upside. Thankfully, we're able to cash out on that move higher and then get out once we break that low. So Google will be, after all of this, unfortunately, a flat stock for me. But I do still want to get back into this name. Just going to wait for it. Looking at some of the oil plays there, CVX, I know. And it's just, sorry about it. Like, I just had, big positions. And obviously, my attention was just on those two names. So I've only traded two names here today. And that is not included into oil. CVX not really doing anything. It is up 0.6. That's a nice, actually, day for CVX. All right, and Netflix, whoops, breaks 90. So now you got to look for a 90. I think there's some nervous hands there wondering if that deal is going to get done or not over there with Warner Brothers. So some interesting levels there to watch out for on Netflix.
Changed.
I know, it's a crazy stock.
So ridiculous to me. Warner Brothers is literally not moving on any of the nonsense that we've been talking about on Warner Brothers. The stock is literally doing absolutely nothing. They don't care. But whatever. Let them punish Netflix. Let them punish Netflix because I think ultimately we'll probably look back in 6 months and be like, thank you, as we continue to try to buy dips on that one. But I'll be patient with it. Open, still waiting for about 6.5. I feel like I'm front end of this trade. So if that, so what that means is we're still on the way up and I'm not getting like the wick high and the curl. So I'm not going to add to this. I'll let it, if it breaks out this high from yesterday, then I'll just jump out and I'll wait for the other side. IBIT did come back in, busted my entry, and is now coming back. So I'll try to get in again if it only holds the back end. Like, I want it to show me that we're still looking weak over there in IBIT. We're headed right back into the lows. Nvidia's back through the low of the day. Intel, right when I said I wanted it at VWAP, if it could get there, it's back into the lows. So I'm going to wait for the next available pop. I'm no longer thinking the long in this name. And for the other chip names, I'm talking the memory names, Micron, low of the day, breaking lower. WDC, low of the day, trying to break lower. SNDK, because these are those working threes, low of the day, trying to break lower. Now, so the memory names, which have been so strong, are all looking pretty terrible so far. Yeah, there's not much that's holding up strength. I got to be honest with you guys, not really finding a lot of relative strength in here. You can't, I mean, you could say like silver's at VWAP. I mean, it's trying to go. And even that looks like it could end up being a nice curl short.
Yeah, I don't know about anything anymore, man. I'm trying to buy these dips, but it's getting a little exhausting, to say the least. But we'll go back in, man. Now we have a much bigger win now with Google as we were buying those dips again. And now you have to, you know, if we're going to try to make an actual day out of it today, let's see if we can hold. So Google right now, Google's positive here. So this, I don't know if you have any positive names, but for me, 1 for 2. Just IBIT. Just IBIT, okay. So 1 for 2 for me with Google and Palantir. But we got to wait. I mean, I'm trying to wait for Palantir. If it breaks 180, I mean, that was a level that we had sort of talked about a little bit there. So that's 180 change. So you got to give it a little bit lower than 180. But Google trying to mature up into its valuation as well. What DraftKings is flashing right now on my screen, 35. So I don't know what's going on with DraftKings. Let me see. Okay, yeah, there. Wow, DraftKings, nice move higher. Starting to tick a little bit there as we go. I told you yesterday I actually got out. I had a small position still left in DraftKings and just noticing, like, I don't know what this is doing. So I got out yesterday on DKNG. I'll have to find out the price. I don't know, but let's just say it's around here. And, you know, pretty flat right here on DraftKings. So take advantage of that move up, cash out. I just have, you know, like smaller shares size left in that. Okay, here goes Palantir. Come on. Maybe now we can get that bounce off 181. I mean, I don't really, I have some offers. No, I don't. I have 181.75. And then we have some 182s, and then up here I put 182.50. So let's see. It would be nice if we can get upside right there on Palantir. And then, okay, you're on Palantir, but Nvidia right now, that could be a look as well, 186. I mean, this name is getting cranked. Low side there. So we can't rally in this market unless we get Apple or Nvidia, Microsoft, all the big names. Like, I'm not trading the Qs, but this is what's affecting the market right there. Nasdaq, Microsoft down 1%. TQ's down, obviously. Nvidia down a little bit there as well. And yesterday we had a good move lower in the banks, but they're up today. Okay, so 330. I was actually debating getting out of JP Morgan, maybe half of my position just ahead of earnings next week. But make sure you do hit the like and the subscribe. We have large amount of viewers now. If you have not subscribed, get us to 550. That'd be great. If you hit that like button and that subscribe button, get us to 550,000 subscribers.
550,000th subscriber gets infinite amount of street cred, and you get to trash talk everybody. So just consider that. The ability to just sort of hold your head high. But more importantly, it's a subs-only chat. Get in the chat, type your symbols in with the $, and ask questions. And if we want to cover something else, you got to get in the chat to let us know.
Try to go.
Yeah, I mean, Palantir's trying. This is yesterday. It's not the low. It's not the low by any means, but it's the low off of the defense news, the initial defense news, I should say. And so there's a higher low being put in. Just to put it into perspective, that recent top was also 182.5. So I think the range, if it's going to hold, may not be VWAP, but this range on PLTR. Open is still going higher. So I said it, we're not on the back end of this trade. I'll allow it to either break this top or curl and then try to add on the way back in to the downside. IBIT, otherwise known as Bitcoin, we're back at 90,000, but there is a potential curl. So if I'm going to get back into this, I want to be on the other end of the trade. Like, look at the topping tail candles and then get in. So it looks like we're getting one potentially now. This should close red, and I'll try to jump in front of 51 on IBIT. So we're back under that 90K. And Palantir's trying and not doing too well of a job. Nvidia is looking pretty weak. I saw someone put in ARM without the $. Remember, if you're going to type a symbol, use that $. It's doing what everything else is doing, which is falling back in.
All right, will do. My mother saying, have a nice day, so I will do. Okay. Let's just continue to watch these names for myself, but there are other names moving around. I mean, Disney, IBIT, we talked about that. Let's check out SMR. I mean, so my out is if this breaks 180, right? So we got to watch out for that one. SMR had a problem with 20, I believe, yesterday or so, and that was roughly the high. Yeah, SMR right now, great bounce, right? I mean, this was $14 at the lows. So the fact that you go from 14 to 20, I mean, you're putting 30% or so on that right now, but that goes right back there to the upside is SMR. They're down 1.8%, so watch out. That already made that low of 1850 or so, so have a look over there. But Palantir is like racing in now into 180 is Palantir. So I see you got out of that, but my out's going to be 180 breaking on that one. Okay, morning peeps, SMH, you're right. Okay, yesterday are put in the work. Oh, here, puts are putting in the work. Okay, that's good. Flourish today, yes, very good. Technical analysis, wonder if the economic data played a part. I mean, you know, when those numbers came out, okay, hold on a second. Like I said, man, I traded too many shares here to be discussing this right now. But here goes Google right back there to the upside. I got to get out of some of this, but I haven't looked at SMH today, but I will.
No, the chips have been incredibly weak, but I didn't get a chance to read the entire thing there. But if you look at what's going on in the overall market, we're much weaker. We're much weaker in SMH because there has been a bounce. Here, I'm just going to quickly show you. There's the ES. There has been a sizable bounce in the ES. Sean already talked about the banks. The NQ has been trying to bounce. There has not been a bounce in SMH at all, just entirely to the downside. And you don't wonder, because you're making those fresh highs, a pullback in a prior high. Technically, 373 makes some sense to me. It didn't actually mean for that to rhyme, but it did. So yeah, it's quick brief analysis on SMH to see how weak it is, relatively speaking. But it's an ES kind of day. No question about that.
Come on. Like we just saw, I asked Neil if he was out. He's out at Palantir. I'm still in, but it's not a great stock. But I just need this to go. Google as well. We're able to take advantage of that bump up. It's not taking out this 21 period moving average. I hate that I'm still talking about the same names, but honestly, we've got some good coverage on them here today. So let's just quickly go over and have a quick look at the sectors. Although I think Adara's coming with Sector Watch anyways. So she's going to go with happening now. But just quickly here, it's all the tech today, right? The tech is bad. The banks are good heading into earnings next Tuesday, Wednesday, that they'll all start to kick off. So, but yeah, banks getting stronger today. Tech names, of course, I'm trading two tech names, getting weaker. But Palantir, oh boy, man, we're back to Greensville right now on PLTR, almost on the day and almost on my position as well. Wow, Google just went upside down there and took down 322 again. So, oh, did it? I don't even know if it did. But we're going to go over to Adara right now with some numbers.
The numbers were just released, guys. Wholesale sales month over month, negative 0.4, slightly lower here than the estimate of negative 0.2. Wholesale inventories month over month, this is a revision exactly in line here with the forecast, so 0.2% versus the forecast of 0.2%. So again, lower than expected wholesale sales, in line wholesale inventories revision. This comes off of a pretty interesting morning here for this economic data. We had the U.S. trade balance at negative 29.4 billion, below the forecast of negative 58.6 billion. Initial jobless claims also a little bit lower than expected. Labor costs and productivity also lower than estimated. But again, the biggest economic data here for the market is going to come out tomorrow morning with those NFPs at 8:30 a.m., followed by the also interesting University of Michigan consumer sentiment print at 10. That's the market also, guys, just at low of days. But something that certainly isn't at low of days is RTX. Keep an eye on these defense plays, including RTX, Northrop Grumman, NOC, and Lockheed Martin, LMT. RTX actually getting U.S. President Donald Trump coming after them in particular on Truth Social yesterday, following an earlier post calling out the defense industry as a whole. And then about 15 minutes after the RTX call out, U.S. President Donald Trump comes out and says that he actually wants to increase the 2027 military budget to $1.5 trillion. As a result, defense contractors, especially U.S. defense companies, doing quite well today. Also doing quite well, at least initially, here was Applied Digital, APLD here, adjusted earnings and sales beating estimates for Q2 2026. Before we send you back to Sean and Neil for more action-packed trading, I'm going to take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics, because there are millions of concussions, 0 approved therapies. Origenics, trading on the NYSE as OGEN, is advancing a new standard with its intranasal brain-first approach to concussion treatment. With an $8.9 billion market on the horizon, Origenics is positioned to drive what comes next. So see what's ahead and book a meeting today. Back to you. Make sure to like and subscribe.
All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Adara. So I talk about the front end and back end of the trade. That was a, was a mistake to get in the front end, but finally got a topping tail candle there on open door, and then was able to get in. I completely forgot, and I shouldn't have, that its SSR today was down over 10%. So I couldn't even hit. You can't hit the bid unless there's an uptick, but thankfully was able to just sit there and get filled. If it holds VWAP, I'll take another leg out. Otherwise, want to at least hold half of it for the bottom end of the range here. On open, IBIT is still kind of holding that 51, so I jumped back in off these topping tail candles, was able to kind of scalp VWAP twice, and I'm looking to get some more out in this range. That's the pre-market low, and then hold the rest for the potential low of the day. But at some point, if this is happening in the Nasdaq, then IBIT needs to break down through. It's not enough that it's falling a little bit, but it needs to fall more if the market's going to be this weak. So let's go back to the desk. Looks like we have news with Adara.
Bit of a drop here in PYPL. Interesting look as the company announces a partnership here with Microsoft to support the launch of Copilot checkout in, you guessed it, Copilot. Odd that it's dropping on this, but either way, again, guys, PYPL on watch. Microsoft partnership here for launching Copilot checkout. So what I mentioned here, Qualcomm, I'm seeing a headline here too, QCOM entering into a long-term partnership here with VW. Not much of a move here. Back to you.
Yeah, we're talking about our quotes here a little bit, but there's a lot of volume coming into this market today. That is for sure. Yeah, look, nothing's going well, man. The Nasdaq is down 1% right here. It's a pretty red day across the board for us. But yeah, there's Palantir. So this is the one that, you know, we've made a lot of money on it. We might lose a lot of money on it here today as it's looking to break through 180. I mean, we're long at 181. The problem is we have shares. So as this comes back in, just was not expecting this, and I was like looking for bumps, and just we got out on a lot of the bumps. So it's, you know, the trade could be a lot worse if we just threw in the white towel or flag and sort of just gave up on all of these trades. But we're able to find some bottoms and get back in. Obviously, the best out would have been up here at 184 once we broke through that level, but we tried to support a little bit of a trade here on PLTR. So let's, I mean, until this market goes back up, you know, the selling is real and quite quick with it on PLTR. But, you know, Google's at least doing something off 322. So I do have a bigger order waiting at 321. I'd rather it not get there, but I am willing to, you know, sort of see if it can do something. You're down $8 on Google from the highs. So obviously an $8 ramp back up would be awesome, but we're not expecting that, nor are we even looking for that. So take out a piece there again. There it is. Another piece at 323. So like we just got 323. Now it's back down to 322.50s. Like this is wild times, man. These markets are flying around right here, especially because the price of some of these stocks continue to be high. So some of these 1% moves, 2% moves are quite dramatic and quite violent. Like I was saying, though, about the banks before we went over to Adara for happening now. Interesting about PayPal, obviously not a bank, but a fintech name there. They were trying to apply for some banking license or charter there, I think a little while ago. We had a story about that. But JP Morgan was down a little bit there yesterday. Not a little bit, actually a lot. Yesterday from 334 down to 326. And you're starting to get a little bit of a relief rally. I do think at lunchtime or right after this, I'll probably exit couple of stage lefts there on, I'm going to get out of some Palantir here as well, just because we have too many shares probably, but get out of some banks. Just because they're reporting next week, I still really like them, but let's just see where it goes from here on the banks. Okay, man.
You mean trim.
Trim, yeah, not get out of, sorry, my bad. All right, there goes Google right now $1.50 in the money. This, like I said, I know you're positive there on IBIT, but for me, 1 for 2, but red on the day with basically the pending position in Palantir. So I just laugh because I look over in 1 minute, the position's well in the money and cooking real nice. Like that was just at 181. I chose to get out of more Google and not this. And then this drops 50 cents in a heartbeat. So when you're trading with shares, and this is the difference what we talked about with sim mode or actually putting on risk is that, you know, if I'm in sim mode here, then potentially you don't have the emotions of, you know, the P&L swings and things like that. So, you know, you have to be very, very careful. Put your orders in where you want to get the fills and just trade, you know, trade off levels and trade your strategy. It doesn't really matter if you're in live or if you're in sim. You just got to, you know, be calm, get your positions in there, and you know, day trading, every time you put on a trade, you are putting on some sort of risk, right? So, all right, let's put another offer here at 324. We'll take that out. Now we just need, Google's working, fine, but now we need to have Palantir, like Rihanna say, work, 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 and then we'll be able to get an out. But I'm waiting at 180.77. There it is. So we put that order out and get that. So now let's go. Let's put another order right here at 181.30s or so. And then we're already there actually at 181.28s. So if that can pipe through, then we'll get that fill. And upside from here for Palantir, hopefully Google on one to the upside as well.
Yeah, I think we might be in the midst of a bit of a turn because like the last trade. First here, Palantir, this bottom end of the trend. Kind of a couple of shots on Palantir. One worked, one didn't. We rejected this trend line the last long, so if we break this trend line, I want to try to jump into it. Right, open doors sort of settling down off of VWAP, but IBIT broke the high, so I'm out of IBIT. This is my most active trade yesterday. It's my most active trade today, but it's busting through. So until we get to 51.5, this is higher highs and higher lows all the way through on IBIT, now holding on to VWAP. So if this is the curl, I got to redraw this now. If this is the curl, yikes, that's not even the right spot. There we go. You're starting to finally, and I'm looking at the trend from the first green candle after that big flush, not necessarily all this VWAP mess. I want to see us hold somewhere around that 181 again. That's the price area that we like. So if we can break this trend line, I'll jump in right about where we were before and then try to get this to the upside. APLD, I know, has been going absolutely nuts. Some of the small caps will try to get to when things calm down, but they have not. It looks like this market, ES breaking the highs, Nasdaq getting to VWAP. As we speak, so there's our break of the trend. Get me in, sit on the bid, it'll fill in just a second, there we go. Able to get filled as that's now starting to head into the upside. I know there's some stronger names out there. I wanted to make sure we actually got in here, and then there's APLD breaking back above VWAP. This is your earnings bonanza name. People called it boring in the pre-market. It's not boring now.
Not a boring day at all here right now today as we just continue to fly around, man. Okay, let's see if we can settle down, and we got those fills on Palantir. Our best fill, I think it was 20. What did we get? 28s. Yeah, so we got that 28 fill there for PLTR. Let's let it just settle down and see if it does want to get a little bit higher. 182.50. Just got to make sure I do have that order out, which I do, and I have a 182 and a 181.70. I'll cancel the 182. I'll get the 181.70 hopefully. Google, man, $3, and that just goes right back there to the upside. So like I was saying, man, big time trade right there on Google. Let's see if it can go. The S&P now turns back to positive. Of course, bank stocks helping the S&P 500 while the Nasdaq still remains low side. Let's go have a look at everyone's favorite car company, Tesla. Actually, we missed Ford break of $14. Let's go. Hopefully you guys have that. Where's my guy Randy right now? Look at that, man. Look at that 14 break. Never goes against you and rips higher. It's too bad because I was too obsessed with these other names. We should have been on Ford. And, you know, just to give a quick little look here, this is what we had marked down. Palantir long, that's not right. Google long, that's not right. Although we're up huge on Google's going to be the #1 P&L name. If I just punch out right now, it's huge, but not great trading on that one. We had to absorb it. Ford long at 14 was awesome. And then there's the 650 short on Open Door, which I did not take because, again, very focused on the trades that we do have. But there goes Ford cooking upside there. We like that stock. And so we nailed that one. The Ford call was absolutely fire. I just wish we had that on board because it's so easy for everybody to trade that. All right, let's go over here on Tesla and have a quick look on that. I mean, there goes Tesla up to 433. So here's a positive name coming into you. So yeah, there's a good little level there on Tesla from yesterday, 430. We'll see if it winds up holding. You know, pretty barcoded all pre-market there, and then, you know, choppy, but does not suffer. You know, normally the Nasdaq goes to the downside. We've seen Tesla absolutely puke all over itself when the market falls, but today, no, nothing but up. Yes, Palantir, nothing but upside love for some Tesla. We just need Palantir to go. It's Google, Neil. That's $3 now. Google is absolutely motoring now to the top side. Let's see if we can hold on to this one. We're back. There we go. We're now green on the day. Finally, your boy now turns green on the day off of that fill by Palantir 180, 150. So, oh man, that was tough to get to green today.
Live trading bull. Is SMCI dead? What is happening with this company? Probably. I have not looked at SMCI today, but we'll give it a quick look. Most of the chip names have been bad, let's be real, so it's not going to look anything different. Palantir, VWAP is still $1 away. Ooh, yuck. Where is it? Where is my flat bottom break? 29 goes. This thing is in a world of hurt if 29 can go. Triple bottom here on SMCI. But this just looks... It looks a lot like some of the other chip names that you're seeing. That being said, they've had their troubles, and they've had a lot of them for quite some time. This stock's been a hard pass for a while, in my opinion, and nothing about today is going to change that. It's not dead yet because it's got one line of support that's still going to be in play for you. So, you know, good luck. In SMCI, there are stronger names out there, certainly, but you can't even hide. Yeah, you can't hide in chipland and AI in the AI space right now, because the market's finding the poor plays in the space, and they're punishing them pretty heavily. So that one's on the other end of the trade. I tried to buy another dip in here right around that 181. Didn't get filled on the way back through. Still going to take some out in front of 182, and then looking for VWAP here in Palantir, and going to try to add to this one. Open Door did get to 650. Now twice Open Door has gone to 650. This is the second time through. If it breaks that high, got to jump out. It played back into VWAP the first time. I don't know if it's going to get there before breaking the top the second time. So Open is testing for this break. And this was on the news yesterday when the administration came after or basically made comments that institutions shouldn't be buying single occupancy homes, or more of them. I don't think they said they had to sell what they had, but you know, that had BX to the downside, and then Open Door as well was to the downside.
Yeah, I didn't actually even, I know you're just looking at Open Door, but I didn't, I like that. Okay, so okay, it's right here at 650. So yeah, we could probably think about going short. This is the level that we had written down. I mean, the 650 was cash early there. We could try it again, maybe. Or not again, but this would be the trade that we had. We only wrote down 4 things on our watch list today: Palantir, Google, Open Door, and Ford. And Ford has been the best trade. I don't know, how many symbols have you traded over there?
4.
4? Okay. All right. So yeah, we'll. I only have 2, so it's four symbols over there, 2 over here, and.
But I would like. This is the thing that's very deceptive, because I've been in Palantir twice. Like it's trade. Like, who cares how many symbols you trade? 1 time, 2 times in Palantir.
Yeah, who cares how many symbols you trade?
Like Open Door, 1 time. Like, this was the front, and then wait for the back end, and then a reload is the second time in through on that one. IBIT, I've made way more trades.
Yeah.
2 times there. 2 times there. IBIT yesterday I traded 12 times at one stock to the south side. And someone asked me, am I thinking it's a long? No, because the target, as long as we're underneath 51.4, let me show a 15 here. As long as we're underneath 51.4 on IBIT, which is, you know what, I don't know the exact price on Bitcoin when it gets up there, but we get to that price and break through, then I could consider long. I just changed the manner in which I want to look for that short here. Like, now I'm looking for a trend break, because it's broke away from VWAP, so got out, so I shorted the pre-market highs into VWAP. When it broke the pre-market highs, I'll wait for it to either get to the next big level or break the trend. If it breaks the trend, I jump short. If it gets to this, I'll look for another curl, topping tail candle, break of trend line, something along those lines for an execution. But I plan on trading IBIT all day long, like, even regardless of what it does. And then Palantir, every time it wants to hold 181 and give some kind of an entry, like, that's the spot that I want to execute. But it can't bust 182. This is the problem. The market coming back, Like there's your Nasdaq through VWAP. The ES is literally green as we speak.
Yeah.
Like, the ES just went green on the S&P. So I would expect if you can't get to VWAP, Palantir's in a world of hurt. And you can't blame this on the defense stocks. Raytheon's holding up. That's up 4%. That's still looking fine. You look over here at like a LMT. That's still up 7.5%. That's holding fine. So it seems like uniquely Palantir getting hit a little bit out of the defense names. It's not a pure play defense name though. It's
we're trying to wait.
Hybrid AI defense play, but whatever.
We're trying to wait for Palantir to bounce up here right now, as well as we continue to look at many different names. The reason why I asked you, Neil, how many stocks is not because nobody cares. It's because a lot of people care. We're just wondering, because we always trade the same names, it seems like. Like I'm in Palantir, you're in Palantir. So just want to tell people that we do have a very, very different looks all over the place. And, whether or not you guys are trading small cap names, and that's actually why we have this visualizer right here. So it gives us an idea, because I can be very, very, tunnel vision on the trades. Costco, wow, okay, this is what I'm saying. This is why we want to thank all of you guys here. There's Costco up 4.5% right now to 923. So that should be something to be looked at there. We haven't had Costco ever, I don't think, on here. So Alibaba, okay, Alibaba, that's up 3% there as well. Kratos, they're 107 right now.
Another good defense name.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. We're in that ARKQ, so that's good. Oh, by the way, now that we have, how many viewers do we have on here right now? Okay, 8,200. Let's make sure that you guys do hit the like and the subscribe, because on Monday, we're each going to pick, and I put in the chat, I don't know if we responded to how many shares we want to do, but we could do 3. So we're going to have Adara, Neil, Fabian, Joe, Sharif, and Brendan and myself, all with our 3 picks. We could discuss it. I don't know, 3 or 4 picks, 5 picks. Monday. So get ready for that, man. Get your little notebooks ready, and we'll be discussing moving forward, from Monday moving forward. I know we're a little bit late on it. What our top picks of the year will be.
Yeah, the irony being
yeah, I know.
My number 1 pick is one that I'm literally trimming today because it already went 30% in 4 days. But what can you do?
Yeah,
it shouldn't matter, because it's got to be from the time that we say it. Ooh, I know we haven't talked about all these small caps, but for everyone asking about them, you're about to get a look with Adara and our small cap recap.
You are, but actually, and I'm ready for that, but that's not why I called. I first want to let you guys know here about some of these insurance names. I'm seeing reports that the U.S. House Ways and Means panel is inviting 5 of the biggest health companies here, specifically health insurance companies, to a meeting here or a hearing on January 22nd. Those are going to be the leaders of UNH, CVS, CI, Cigna, Elevance, and Ascendion. So of the publicly traded ones, that would be UNH, United Health, CVS, the ticker obviously CES, Cigna, CI, and Elevance, ELV. So that's going to be on watch here January 22nd, 2026. If you know me, you'll know I will be watching that very eagerly. So that's likely going to be at 10 a.m. on January 22nd. That's usually when they hold these meetings. But again, House Ways and Means panel asking some health insurance CEOs for a chat. Let's start here with APLD for this small cap recap. Not the smallest of market caps. It is in the low single digit billions, I believe. But that short float, of 34.25%, certainly significant. The company beating earnings here, EPS and sales. JTAI up next. Didn't see any news here on Jet AI, but there are some float and market cap things I want to talk about here. Market cap only $3.32 million, so relatively small market cap, with a float here of 4.17 million shares and a short float of about 4%. Last but not least here, ACON, Aclarion, actually having some news here. This one, much like APLD, was on our watch list this morning. Aclarion saying that apparently their back pain technology is seeing a 114% surge in demand. They provided a 2025 business update and an outlook here for 2026. They also have a market cap of about $5.5 million. Float here of about 670,000 shares. 6% of that is going to be sold short. So small float here for ACON. This is also what we call a repeat offender. It's a small cap that's traded many times here on this show. Back to you.
Oh, just one note. The whole repeat offender thing doesn't necessarily mean how much it gets traded on the show. It's more along the lines of, on the daily chart, is it kind of like it pops and drops? And punishes people for chasing. That's what I call a repeat offender in a small capper, where you get 1 or 2 days out of it, and anyone that tries to swing it is going to get burned. I think that's the bigger trouble. Okay, so looking at 3 things, obviously right now, Palantir still finding a lot of resistance in the 181.5 to 182 zone, but Open and IBIT look exactly the same to me right now in that, I have to redraw it. So there's trend, so Open Door just broke the trend line. So it went from shorting at 650 to a trend trade while I was in one. So I just kind of, adding is kind of taking the other setup. And then IBIT is doing something very similar where you're going to see the exact same, almost the same thing. Like there's your uptrend still underneath that 51.4. It has not broken trend yet, but if it does, then I want to add to that or jump back into that short position. If you look at the chips, Nvidia, you know it's going to be hard for the Nasdaq to hold VWAP here or the ES to continue to break highs if this is happening on Nvidia. Back down 2% now and heading back into lows of the day. Not looking terribly good for the longs, but the next setup to me is going to be getting into this IBIT trend break. I'm just going to keep redrawing these lines because when I hit save, I have issues. So yeah, the market trying to come back, but if Nvidia is not going to catch that bid, I don't see this working out too well for this little market bounce we have.
Yeah, I'm offering kind of the same way. So I'm going to get out some Google here as it's just barcoding. So it just hit the top of this barcode. So we're going to get some out here in the 30s and 40s. Well, we got 20s and 30s. We didn't get any 40s. I'm not offering 40 right there. But yeah, Google, wow. Boom. The first long does not work, obviously, but when we wrote down 321, we meant it. So we were very, very lucky. We took like, I don't know, 500 shares or something right there when it bumped right back up. That's why I was panicking to get out, because it was like it saved sort of this move back down in, because we didn't have that many shares on the way back in. And then we just stood there at 322 and took them, basically risking $1 back into 321. And we didn't have to risk anything because we're able to cash out there, and then it came back. We did get stopped out there at 322.50, but then I said it might have been in here, and then right back up to the upside, and now Google trying to go. But yeah, man, today, despite, okay, here we go. Thank you, Palantir.
Palantir.
Right back up, yeah, man, right back up there again. And, you know, traded thousands of these shares today, Palantir and Google. So I have to, like I said, we're not going to be green on the day, and no thanks to Palantir unless it really gets going right now. We need to get this up to about 182.50 to be okay, to be green on it there. Oh, we had 2 offers there. Oh, too bad. Okay, now it's going up to 182.50. So 182.45s or so. Let's put out an offer, see if we get that fill. As there goes Palantir. We're basically just right back to where I was net-wise in the pre-market when we had Google long at 326 and we got some out at 330. So we're just, our net is basically where it was at 329, which of course is 929. So that was our best trade. And then the market opened and kicked in the face, right? I think I only speak for myself, but we were down pretty good there, and now we're up pretty good. So finally back to the upside there now on this trade. So yeah, big time profit taking by me at some of these levels right now, because you never know. There goes Micron, man. We called this yesterday. We were a day early on this short, man. Yesterday we were short 337. Even this morning I was like, this obviously is going to be a house of cards, and it seems to be that there, as it is now fallen back in. And it's not a house of cards. It's built on very, very strong fundamentals for Micron. I mean, the RAM business is one that continues to be impressive, with the costs going higher and higher in this space. A lot of upgrades on this name. But, you know, at the end of the day, I said this yesterday at close, and I just hope people took some sort of listen to it. I didn't do it myself. That this is too far away from the 50-period moving average. So just technically speaking, I liked that short, and we've been talking about a Micron short, and the only position I put on yesterday was a short, which would now be, and of course we can't hold overnight. You have Micron down now that 4%. So yeah, pretty decent green day, but yeah, it took a minute to get there. Natural gas storage at 10:30. As well, and yeah, no, I have no check. Yeah, I checked Target yesterday, and actually, yes, Holy Neil, oh my gosh. There's a big trade there for me on Target. Now it's time to get out. Target hits our target, I believe, breaking through some of these levels there. So yeah, man, we're making money here for you guys. Yes, there it is. Okay, so thank you so much. Who was that? There, what's up to Heart Media? Thank you for grabbing some of that. And we had put that, there it is right here, send selected. We had put that on our, we tweeted this out in October that we went long there looking for something on Target. It did dip against us a little bit, but we're long at like 85, 86s, up to 106. That's a good one. And then before I throw it back there, another call that we, of course, had was Lululemon, and that's, okay, 212. So we got out a little bit of that around that 220 on, a little, obviously less than 220, but in that area on their earnings. They did have a nice bump up. Not that candle. We did not get out that day. We got out the next day when it dripped back in. So I think it was right around here, 212, 213. But now I'm waiting for 220. So that's why that area is on my mind. But a good trade there for Lululemon. I am wearing their pants and I think ON socks right now. So it's a very, very crowded space right there with Hoka on.
Oh, okay, I know them.
I got the On shoes on. I got the Lulu undergarments and pants on.
All about the man-made Canadian brand.
Yeah.
They're legit.
Lulu Canadian brand too.
Yeah, I don't have the O Canada key, or I'd hit it right now for you. There it is.
There it is. There it is.
Man-made, most people wouldn't know man-made though. Lulu's a little more famous. Obviously.
Yeah, just a little bit.
just a little bit. Look, you're getting a different market for, you got to separate the chips and defense, and then within defense, you're getting a little bit of difference between the ES at the highs and the Nasdaq at VWAP in here. But Palantir just does not want to burst. It was at 182, and I'm like, okay, we're going to get back into that VWAP, but it's not really doing it yet. You've got the bottoming tail, and the good news is on the 15-minute, here, I got to do this. I'm just going to take off the fills for a second, so you can see this a little bit cleaner. On the 15-minute, you've got a nice bottoming tail candle off that support level, and we have a chance to close above 181.5 and then look for that strong press to the upside. So it does look a little bit better on that time frame. And just make sure I can put the fills back in so you can see. So holding out for this high in about 183 does make some sense. Open, that's still doing more or less the same thing off the 61.5. It broke the trend, so we added to that position. IBIT is still trending up. There hasn't been that one move where it's looking like it's coming back in since the open. Like the open was the one red candle, and then now we're just breaking higher. So until we get to 51.4, probably not going to end up doing anything in that particular name and just being patient with it. And Nvidia, this looks much better. I mean, if you look, you can sort of guess at 185 as a long. There's literally nothing remotely significant about it. What I would say is that looks like a reversal candle, but we're still underneath all of this support at about 186.5. So this is setting up like a breakout back through that prior low on Nvidia. I want to try to be a little bit more patient and sort of wait for that like one entry point. Like you're seeing on Palantir, I like it at one spot. And when it shows spires at that one spot that I was waiting for, then we want to try to jump in. I feel Nvidia is kind of the same thing on that 15-minute chart for sure. You're getting much more strength in the market, but there's nothing moving around more crazy than APLD. It's kind of hilarious that people were thinking, but it's boring. APLD's not doing anything. This stock is literally heart beating around $1.50 to $2 at a time on a $34 stock. Like that's insane. I mean, people look at like $1 being a big move. Well, it's all relative. Like this thing is going ham in both directions, has had zero consolidation. It's making a bit of a, you can make an argument it's doing this, like it's channeling down. But when you see this type of action, it needs to convincingly break above or just wait for it to get to the bottom of the channel and then play for these moves. Like this is $1.50 that you're getting back and forth on APLD. So congrats to anyone that might be successfully playing this. But I think watching to see if they can break this channel and head back into the upside, explosive to the top, because it plays both ways. You can have a great looking channel that's, you can scalp it inside, but the breakout away from that channel in either direction gets pretty interesting. And then when you start to consider this is also testing a breakout on the daily, it gets pretty enticing on Applied Digital there. So Jacques in the chat, I'll answer this one. You say you can't find Sean's tag. I'm sure people, all you guys, all the time. Why does you getting out of position decrease your average price? So this will be pretty simple. Let me try to find something where I was in multiple times, which is easy because it was an open door. So I had one short off this curl and then short off the high. Then it kind of broke trend, which I didn't redraw that well. But then I'm adding at that price. The principle is first in, first out. So there's no way in the system, it's simply going to say, it'll always show you my average price or anybody's average price. That's what will show up in your blotter. But as you take positions in or out, like this entry is at 42, 45, 46, and 45. Oh. So what'll end up happening is you'll be in there, and first it'll say 42, and then I'll be at essentially 43.5 of my average price. Then as I take out these 42s on that bid, then it's going to show the 45s that I got. And then if I take those ones out here, then it's going to show the 46s. Right? So first in, first out is the principle that is used at real trading. I'm not aware of any other way that you would display prices in a trade in which you've had multiple fills. My guess is it would just be the standard because it's the most logical. Like it can't know what your average price was over the entire term. It'd be kind of impossible if you traded all day long. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense, but that's why you'll see prices move around. But it should only happen on stocks that you're trading, multiple entry points. If you just get in one time and get out, then, it's not going to do that.
Okay. I'm still on Lulu for some reason there. Okay, so yeah, that open door, good little look there. That was one of the 4 trades, and I should have just took it, man. We were literally looking at this thing at 650. All right, good trade over there. Should have had it. That should be the one short that I'm in. Alibaba, though, $154 coming through. I do see a super chat there. Yeah, do you have it, Andre? You can put it up whenever you want to. There it is. Let's put that. Oh, whenever you're ready, Andre, or I can do it. But yeah, Alibaba, there it is right there. All right, so thank you, Wayne Griffin, right now. What metrics do you use to pick your trades? I've noticed you enter early. Yeah, I'm trying not to enter so early. I know I violated that today. We'll talk about that. And manage your risk well. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So I'd love to know your indicators. You caught Google on the dip, and you did pretty well. You profited $3,000 there today. Well, like I was saying to you guys there, I'm actually with this Palantir turnaround right now. I'm going to be red, so that's a great call there by you to profit on that Google trade. Yeah, so again, like if you look for, and again, thank you so much for the super chat, Wayne. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but it all reflected onto here. So there's that open door 650 short. There's that forward 14 break. Those are just like support and resistance areas, right? That $14 break on Ford. I mean, we could talk about Google or whatever, but that $14 break on Ford is pretty simple, and I don't know if it's going to last all day. You have to really like the stock, but there's 14 right there with a positive catalyst, so it's the take. And so that was a good trade there, and it's blue skies. So nowhere up here. You just sort of manage your risk, and maybe when it starts to die off, you can read the tape, right? I mean, we showed yesterday we had Google on the way back in off of a monster run. We were short Google. We were short Intel for $3 yesterday. So yeah, sometimes you do have to have a little bit of that mojo going, and yeah, confidence too in your positions. But I wrote down today, and just Google was long early. It was an upgrade. It was on our board. They had a huge run yesterday. You're near that all-time high area for Google. So I really like that 326 long. So we've sort of already explained that, and that ripped off right before the open to the upside. Then we fell back in, and I tried those same levels. Now, I wrote down 321 as a dip buy opportunity. So that's where we really started to, and again, when you're going to have a $9 range like that, and at the time it would have only been $7, I'm not going to punch out, man, for a dollar loser. All right, so we did punch out of a little bit there because we got that bid, it ripped up, then it came back and we got stopped out. Once we saw that was the bottom, we went long again. We took some more outs and then stopped out again. All of these outs are better than 1-to-1 on our stops. And then eventually I just had to draw the line in the sand, man. We used 321 from right there, Wayne, and it was yesterday's low, so it came in, or I don't know if it was yesterday's low or not, but we also had that short yesterday. So that came in, and we were using that as our we are absolutely, up the creek without or down the creek without a paddle. if it breaks that. And so we were just,
Up the creek.
trying to be, up or down or whatever, up Schitt's Creek, without a paddle. And at the end of the day, it held. And congratulations to you, Big Wayne, for that kind of a day. Nobody, $3 is a great day. That is for sure. So congratulations to you on that one, especially on one individual trade, right? And that's why I was asking Neil about how many symbols, right? It's a very, very focused thing about what you're looking at and how many opportunities. Here comes the market down. How much risk that you have in your portfolio and for what stocks and at what times, right? So and just to show you about Palantir, like this is why, man. Like when you have, for me, bigger shares, it comes up to 182. How many times? Like my father used to say, like a blind man can, I forget what it is, backing into a ditch or something like that. I'll have to remember what that is. But, that 182 seemed pretty obvious for a minute, right? So we're able to get out once that happened, and now be as risk sort of conscious as possible. And then once that breaks through 180, you can obviously see this is broken, and that now gets out. So that's how you manage risk to the downside, have your targets upside and downside. And I want to thank you, Wayne, for that question and the super chat. It does mean a lot because we're here to educate. Although we might not have too many winners on board, at least we can talk about our methods, and then you guys are obviously the ones with the winners. So congratulations to all of that. Thank you. What's up, Kevin? My dad used to say something like that too. Stop being an idiot, Kevin. That's funny. My dad didn't speak to me like that, but that's good times over there. So Google's coming right back in as well. So I think all the shorts. The only missed trade for me was Open Door at 650, but I'm glad at least you have something.
It's bouncing on VWAP still though, so it hasn't really followed through yet. And ultimately, here's the thing, it depends on what you're looking for, because it's pulled back into VWAP a couple of times. So if you were playing this as just, you're only reverting it back into the volume weighted average price, congratulations. That's it. I could be up on it twice, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for about half of what it did yesterday. I want it here into here. Or that's the play, that's the setup that I'm watching for. So I'm really only getting out a quarter, because this is what I'm looking to capture. But you could get more aggressively scalp it if that's your plan of action. If I'm getting 45s and kind of giving it to 52, that's about 7 cents worth of risk. So I'm not going to be getting it all out when it goes 1-to-1, because that wouldn't actually make any sense risk to reward. I'm going to look for that bigger move to the downside. I want to make sure I have at least half on when it goes back in to the said downside. I just heard something about Northrop Grumman, but I didn't catch the full headline, so I can't really relate that one to you. But look, PLTR, I wanted one place to bounce. It was that 80 to 81 at that low. So every time it found a bottom, it's put in a higher low, go for it. Break the prior bar candle out, put in a higher low, go for it. Resistance, get out. Puts in another low, puts in the higher low off the same level, go for it. And then when it breaks that, get out. So at any point you're looking for that VWAP or trace or into 184, it's going to look fantastic. But I will not looking for the overall scalp. I want it to go a little bit more. So Palantir, risk to reward is going to be there, but there's almost no way that it could have worked out for me. You'd be a very aggressive scalper to make that one into the green side. All right, so IBIT did finally show you this, because I keep having to redraw these trend lines. So it has broken trend, and I'm in there. But it's also not to the volume weighted average price. I'm only doing that because I want to be able to show why not just the line on it, not just the line on chart. I don't know why you have to hit enter twice. I typed IBIT, hit enter, and it doesn't go. And I have to hit it a second time. No, not just because you got to 51, but now you've actually broken the trend line. But this needs to retrace into VWAP. This is different from Open Door in that it's got a bit of a void. So I am looking to cover most of this into the volume weighted average price, because unlike Open Door, it doesn't have that range from yesterday where I can be playing it off. Oh, and just on that Northrop, it is absolutely getting smoked. I just didn't hear what got said about Northrop a second ago, but this one is dumping. Now, it's not red, but it's underneath, it's underneath where all of this started yesterday on all that defense talk, which was about 610 bucks. Let's go to Adara. It's time for sector watch, and this sector pulling back.
Here's the sector board, and it's actually really mixed today. Once again, as Brendan and I were discussing, we're seeing a bit of a pullback in some of these tech names. And again, electronic tech and tech services really emblematic of that weakness. Broadcom, Micron, Intel, all sharply to the downside. Nvidia and Apple lightly red as well, with again Apple being usurped by one of the few positive names in tech services. That's right, Google, still green on the day after becoming the second largest company in the world and usurping Apple in market cap for the first time since 2019. That being said, other than Google and Accenture, there's a lot of weakness in this sector, including Oracle, CrowdStrike, AppLovin, and is this Autodesk? It is Autodesk, down 6.5%. Finance, though, incredibly strong ahead of their earnings next week. JP Morgan is the first bank to report, but we'll get Citigroup, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, and Bank of America all on Wednesday and Thursday morning as well. Retail trade doing very well. We talked about Costco, about 5% on no concrete catalyst, though, of course. The same will be on watch as we potentially get some resolution to the tariff issue tomorrow at the Supreme Court. Consumer non-durable strong, energy minerals strong, utilities strong, with CEG lagging the group. Once again, this is at least the second day in a row. Consumer durables doing quite well here, health services, but we do have some weakness here in non-energy minerals and notably producer manufacturing, GEV and AMAT, both to the downside here, guys. Do make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. But back over to Sean and Neil for now.
So I mean, what's up to my guy Joe over there? You know, we got reloaded. I mean, we actually got a new position here on Palantir, and it was just about, like, we're still fine on Palantir today. There's actually hasn't been too much of a problem, but this 178 was going to be the line in the sand for me now. So I think this is well worth the risk, man. Like $1 or so worth the risk here for Palantir. I like that trade, and we're going to just sit in it and see if it can mature up into, you know, a bigger trade rate there today. So let's check out Uber. Uber's a name that has been moving around. I want to thank everybody for watching, man. Thank you for all the super chats and everything that we've had. So Uber doing nothing today, $86, just hovering around and chilling out. Google's trying to go. Apple, we saw get hit today as well. But I mean, so many of these names are trying to figure it out. This is why I think the Nasdaq has a great chance to get going. Like, we just need someone to turn on the buy key, and then all of these names can go. Like, they're waiting to go. It looks like that to me. What is Microsoft doing? Like, is it sort of barcoding? See, like, all of these names, they already had that move down, and I don't think they want to get back into those lows, but, you know, we've been wrong before. We'll see here. It's a nice bounce into VWAP, but to me, I mean, a lot of the stocks look, Microsoft almost looks exactly like the Nasdaq here, actually, now that I look at that. So here it is. This is what Microsoft looks like, down and back up. So no kind of surprise that that's looking more and more like the market. But Netflix had some stories behind it today, as well as Warner Brothers comes and says, hey, man, we are happy with this $30 offer. Backed, we talked about with Larry Ellis in there, $54 billion. So the cash is good, apparently. But yeah, Netflix is staying true to the deal that they already agreed upon. And there's a $5.9 billion, I think, a breakup fee associated with Warner Brothers and Netflix deal. So that's going to have to get paid. Obviously, that would be paid by Paramount in the deal valuation there, and then Warner Brothers would hand that cash over to Netflix, and that would be fine. So even if the deal gets broken, I do think that Netflix, I mean, this is what Netflix looks like since the split. I do think that Netflix does have a rally opportunity here off of these 90 lows, and I actually got filled the other day at 90. So I'm basically in rate here on my last order. I got filled first at 96 in this area here, and then we got filled again as we just sort of drip into, or let it drip into our levels and fill. And just taking, I'm using like that 100 share method where, you know, you take 25 shares now, 25 shares later, and then 50 shares, you know, at a bigger level. That's my kind of a strategy that I'm trying to do there with Netflix. So if it does come all the way back down, then we can see where we go with that one. So Google, okay, 326 level there for Google, but that's another name. Disney was kind of hot recently as well. Disney did have a move down into 114, 108, now up to 114, and good day for Disney, up 0.89. I mean, the ES still green, and the reason why the ES is green today, everybody, is the sectors, and it's just very specific with tech being with tech being a big problem today, right? If you take away sort of the left side of this board and you just look over here, don't look at this area here, precision manufacturing, but you have all the banks kicking next week. So they're starting to get going here after getting beat up a little bit yesterday as there was no focus on them. Today, for some reason, back in. And we heard that the Fed, 91%. I actually, on some of those numbers today, yesterday we were at 80. Okay, well, now we're back. We were just at 91. And yesterday we were at 88, and so now we're back to 88. I think Brendan had a story there that was 2 cuts by mid-year. Was that right, Adara?
Besant was.
Yeah, I mean, like Myron said that he thinks they can cut 1.5% total all of next year.
Okay, wow.
He might literally be off the Fed by January, because that's when he's set to expire. So he doesn't really, it's kind of take that how you will.
$4 in on Google right now. So we are going to take a little bit of profit on Google, as that is huge stock today. And thank you for Wayne. I know you made a lot of money on that as well. But here it is right there. So right now the current rate is, the overnight lending rate, 350 to 375, and then right into there. So this is by July. So there's a third chance that we do get 2 rate cuts by the time July is here, end of July. And then if you go all the way to, I guess December will be the one. We don't need to check January 27. This is where you get a quarter point for 4 cuts, actually. So there's that 1 full point right there. No, this would be the 1 full point, 12%. That's 3/4 of a percentage point there for a quarter. So it's looking more likely that we at least get to the point of why we're bringing this up. We at least get that half cut, and it's looking like there's a quarter chance that we get 3/4%. So yeah, banks should be hot there again this year. And
I think that's why you see IWM today.
Is that going to the upside again?
Well, I mean, it was leading the charge.
Wow, Google.
Not to jinx it, but IWM was leading the charge, and then just as we bring it, you're literally just talking about rates. You can't make it up. It just lost a bit.
Can't believe Open Door.
It was literally one of the strongest things. I was just talking to Obi. Went to the bathroom, right? Talked to Obi there for a quick second. He's like, IWM's going nuts. And now you are headed back into said downside. While that's going on, I saw Palantir's making some fresh lows. The Q's just lost a bid. Nvidia can't seem to hold on to VWAP as that heads back in. The ES is pulling back into the volume weighted average price. IBIT broke that trend. So why am I? Yeah, that makes no sense. It's kind of silly.
Oh, Micron.
I just went to, that's hilarious. Went to offer to reload and put it at 63 instead of 33. It doesn't really matter. But this one's headed down into VWAP finally. Open Door is trying to break, so it's curling. And the next fill we'll look for 630, and then if it plays into the low of the day, fair enough. Worth taking. Oh, we just got a super chat in there, but worth taking a look. Certainly at some of those defense names. I know not everybody's going to be, they're expensive stocks. Like, I don't think these get heavily traded, but Lockheed starting to press back in. We already showed Northrop, which is looking a little bit weak as well. And then if you're looking at some of the drone names, like I love AVAV. I know it's still up 6%, but this is filled in the gap, down $30 from the highs. So it's almost a 10% retracement on AVAV, which was absolutely flying. Huge reversal. Like, it's like you're still trend up in some stocks, but like you have massive reversals happening in some of these defense names.
So here's a 4 to 1 or so, right? I mean, we talked about stopping out here on Google at 321. So let's take some more out here as we've just come into, so we're at another piece right there, coming into recent highs. And this is where we sort of started the bidding earlier today at 326. We make basically round trip it all the way back there to the upside. And the one name that is going to be the losing trade, obviously today, I assume, I don't know if you're up on it or not, but Palantir, for me right down there, down to 178 right now, looking like it's going to break 178. So this is the level right here. Just basically throwing darts at this name, not well traded today, and should have done nothing. You're going to lose some days on some trades. So 178 and change. We are still going to try to go long off of that. We're long right here right now, 178.70. So I'm not talking negatively about this current position. It was just like catching this. And it's funny because like I basically either need to do a couple things. Like when I get out by averaging out. And when I get in, I average in. It is tough, which is why it's always important. I heard Neil talk about positioning the numbers on the bottom there and what those look like. That's why, like, you're going to see, if I were to take, like, let's just say I have 100 shares right now at Palantir. If I take 200 more shares right now, you're going to see my price, like, dramatically change, right? And so once we get to certain key levels, I will sit there and put on, like, many more shares. So that's why when you start to rip up, like I used an example there on Palantir, and I used an example also on Google, where all of a sudden it's like you put on 500 shares or 5 contracts or whatever, and then it goes $1 in the money. Well, I mean, you know, you start to take some out when that happens, especially when it's going against your trend. And so, like, right now, here comes Palantir. We are not putting on that big, huge position of Palantir. It's definitely not something I'd rather add to a winner, not add to a loser. So here it comes right back through 178 right now. And this is going to be, like I said, the line in the sand. We'll wait for a little bit of a break lower, but 178 right now, the last sort of straw for me here on PLTR.
And, oh, you got the super chat, so we're good there. But I just saw someone, or Alpha was asking about SMR. We're going to go to Adara, triple bottom on SMR, literally as we speak. But it was $20 yesterday that it had trouble with. It couldn't even get to 20 today. But this is looking, another name that's looking very, very bad. Adara, only 7 minutes to go. I see OB's in position, so they're locked and loaded over there.
Time to talk about money, guys. Let's look here at the US dollar, which is in a really nice uptrend since Christmas Eve, December 24th of 2025. There's a lot at stake here, though, guys. Tomorrow we are set to have potentially here a ruling on the Trump tariffs, for lack of a better term. Friday has been set by the Supreme Court as the date that they're going to be weighing rulings in cases with national and international implications. Now, that is just according to a report from Reuters. Also, according to that report, the President Trump's tariffs could be part of that. So again, nothing is really confirmed here. For what it's worth, I've seen some people in the chat asking about what do the prediction markets have to say about this. It's kind of murky because a lot of these markets are basically placing into by 2028. So apparently we've got here on Kalshi, they think there's a 28% chance that the Supreme Court will rule in favor of Trump's tariffs by 2028. Polymarket weighing in a 24% chance that they'll, I guess, side on the side of the Trump tariffs by 2028. So interesting look here. Again, not like we're going to get much resolution necessarily guaranteed, but certainly something to be aware of tomorrow. I also want to mention here, with that in mind, India's stock market having its largest drop in 4 months as we do await potential tariff resolution. Regardless, the US dollar doing quite well as we await tomorrow's NFP print. It's going to be coming out at 8:30 a.m. We actually just wicked above that most recent high on Monday. Let's see if we can continue pushing higher on the US dollar. Back to Sean and Neil. Do make sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah, you can put that in there for, I mean, right now, I'm still mad that we don't have Open Door, but I'm glad that you do. One of the 4 trades there. I'm not here tomorrow. Thank you, Obi, for filling in tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
So you tomorrow,
Neil, it's hockey,
can do, yeah, hockey tournament.
But,
you tomorrow can do what's for lunch. It's in Mississauga. It's pretty close there. So 2 games tomorrow in Saga, 2 games on Saturday, and then a tryout Saturday night. Okay, so today there's not even a flag. I don't even know what symbol they're trying to show here, but the bad news, especially if you're long Palantir, the bad news continues today because it is everyone's favorite, including Obi's. Today it is fresh garlic buttered. You guessed it. It starts with a T and ends in an apia. It is tilapia today. So, you know, everyone's favorite fish coming to play here today. It is garlic buttered tilapia there, Joe. Steamed vegetables.
This is going to be too much.
Vegetable pilaf and mixed green salad. Joe's the smartest guy around here because I think he says no to the aquatic form of protein, so he does not have any worry about
the aquatic form of protein. That's the way of saying that.
Yeah, man. That's I have many topics.
I should get. You know what? I feel like jumping on that because the only reason I don't do it is because I want to be able to get the salmon when they do the salmon.
There you go. There you go.
Joe's saying like you can specifically ask for no tilapia. We'll see how that works out. Look, the market is coming back in. Unfortunately, it is not looking that great just yet. But I mean, IBIT's holding out. It did finally get to 51.5, but you know, ultimately this one's not following through. Open, where'd that get to? Yeah, so I held on to the second half of the trade for under VWAP. I've got one fill, look to get one more out, then I'll be down to a quarter to see if we can get back into the lows. So that continues to go lower. Nvidia is going down to the low of the day. I haven't looked at, well, whatever. I mean, I'm not surprised. I haven't looked at AMD, but then, lo and behold, you pull that one up and it's at the low of the day, down 2%. We've talked a little bit about Micron, but let's look at something that'll maybe put a smile on your face. Google. As this market pulls back. APLD, it's still 32 mid to 34. That's a back and forth $2 range on APLD, and it's done it like 4 or 5 times. I can't remember the last time I saw a stock that was doing this in that big of a range. You just don't see that happen very often, but it is. I kind of feel like the second it's doing something different would be a nice time to get involved, but it's not. I can't remember anything like this. It basically looks like someone's pushing it around. Yeah, not that that's legal.
No, with only 4 minutes to go right now, I mean, it should be illegal to be $5 in the money on Google, but it just takes a matter of patience. And we talked about waiting for these trades to develop. So the missed trade for me today, I have 2 of them. It's Open Door, listed down at 650. We should have absolutely hammered that one. And it was right there. And I don't know, I was just because I was like, oh, I want the long to hit. So just should have realized that Open Door doesn't really care about the market. So that was a call right there. And again, the Ford take. And, we put this out at 8. I don't know what time. I mean, I write it at 8. I don't know, or before that. I don't know what time this came out today. But there's a sticky note right there. Ford long. We can check that out at 14. Maybe our guys will have a quick look at that as we throw over to them. Google, Palantir, and then Open Door, the 650 short. So Neil's got that one. So that's good. But yeah, that's what we're doing right here, right now. And yeah, hopefully we do get a little bit of a bounce back up here for Palantir. We'll offer some 30. That was me at 32. Okay, there it goes. Thank you. That's our price. So we averaged it in a little bit down there against that 178. So now let's wait to see if we can get an upside take here in PLTR. And hopefully when I get back from a couple laps there, we'll be well in the money. And if we're $5 in the money on Palantir like we are on Google, then we've been having a good day. Yesterday we talked about Micron being the short. We were short yesterday afternoon at 337. Can hold overnight, so boom, there it goes. Nice move to the downside there on Micron. We were talking all about that, and then also SNDK. All these names, Western Digital, SNDK, Micron, all were due for this move, and I'm glad we talked about it yesterday because today is in fact that day. So, hey man, with only 2 minutes left, we're going to be doing our picks. Oh yeah, we need to get Obi as well. Obi, I think. Monday. That's one. Guys, what? This is why I'm giving you time, my guy. So 3 picks, Obi, for Monday. We're going to do 3 to 4 o'clock. All right, the last hour on Monday, we're going to do our picks. So we'll call Obi in there. If you're trading whatever, you can message them to us or
as long as they're in the chat.
Whatever. And we'll do like a little bit of an explanation of why we like them. Basically, 6 or 7 of us, including Fabian, wants in on it. And then we have something. No, I don't think Ramin wants in, but we can ask her. And then Adara, obviously, and then all of you guys. So we're going to think of a creative way. I've already spoken to Fabian about a couple ways to do your guys' picks. So we'll have that coming through right now. But with only 1 minute to go right now, it's turning out to be a pretty decent morning as we battle the demons today. $6 now on Google, as that is just, that's an oh boy trade to take my guy's sentence right there. Then now we have $1 as well. So we'll leave you $7 in the money right here and looking to turn green. Just need a little bit of a bump up here on PLTR.
Yeah, with about 20 seconds to go in here, I'm out of IBIT. I'll slap the fail on that one. Every single day, this has been a great short, except for today. And I take too many times, probably. I don't like that fill or that fill. These ones were okay. And of course, when it broke the trend, I have no issues with that. But like, here's the thing that I'm the most happy about. When I'm in this trade here, like I'm not trying to aggressively get out in the first portion of the trade. Because if I'm doing that, and giving it to that high, then you don't make enough back in here that one trade can be worth it for you. That's the best way to talk. We talk about it with some of the ads. It's like the trade has to be worth it relative to how much you're risking. Like you don't want to risk 10 times what you're going to make on the trade. So I was waiting for it to get into VWAP. A little bit different here. Open door still looking pretty solid. Looking up to see if Palantir is setting up again. It's not, but as 11 o'clock, the actual name I'm looking to take a third swing on. Breakout trades, one thing, pretty standard. Breakout, give it to the prior. I'll have that set up. It works, it doesn't. I'm looking to capture this move in here. But one shot at a curl. Here comes the second.
Oh, Google. Oh, my God.
On right now on Intel. So the all-day trend is breaking as we speak on Intel. This would be a play back into the volume weighted average price. Waited for it to try to fill in the entirety of the gap, and then just